It is picked off by Aaron Crocker. Over midfield, he'll run it all the way into the end zone. Touchdown.
Cross Talk TV podcast. Peace.
Welcome to another episode of the San Francisco 49ers Morning Show. I'm your host, former NFL and NFL defensive back, Eric Crocker, and on today's show, I have a special guest coming on. One of my homies. I actually met him in Seattle. He's a member of the Seattle Seahawks, the Legion of Boom, and I tell you this: you're not gonna find much better insight than what you're gonna get from this guy that's coming on. So can't wait for him to come on. He'll be joining in about 30 minutes. I gave it some time, so we have time to discuss the 49ers against the Indianapolis Colts and talk about that. Now, this has already been discussed if you listen to the Locked On 49ers show. So Locked On 49ers with myself and Brian Peacock. We've talked about all this, everything all week pertaining to the 49ers against the Indianapolis Colts, the ins and outs of all that. So make sure you guys, if you haven't already, listen to Locked On 49ers right now. Also, Locked On NFL Draft with myself and Ryan Tracy. Go check that out. New episode up. Get you prepared for the college slate of games this weekend and some things that we'll be looking for. Man, if you haven't already, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button right now. Hit that like button right now. I'm telling you, this is not an episode you are going to want to miss because my guy that I'm going to have on, he's coming in hot. And I had him on Spaces. He hopped on Spaces one night, and we were on Spaces literally for 4 hours because he came in at one point, maybe like we were an hour in and we were just talking, and he came in hot. And I was like, man, at some point I got to get you on the show. So he's coming on this morning. Can't wait for you guys to get to hear his perspective on the NFL, on here. And I see the flames coming in. I see 5 flames. I love it. He's going to talk about the mental aspect of it and kind of life after football and some of the things that, they didn't teach him. And I mean, it's going to be amazing insight. And I can give you some of that, but he gives it to you from a much better perspective. He played on a few different teams and you get to hear again, just a totally different perspective. So I can't wait for my guy to come on. You guys are going to love when he comes on. He'll be on in 30 minutes. And that's not even just so much about the 49ers. It's just about the NFL in general and how the NFL operates. The business side of things is going to be very good. Really good insight. So can't wait for him to come on. He'll be on in about 30 minutes. Before then, again, if you guys haven't already, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. To my guy, Jared Carter. What up, boy? I got to come out there, man. I'm out here. Matter of fact, no, you got to come out here, bro. You got to come down here. I'm out here by myself, man. I would love to have somebody to watch football with. So, Jared, man, you got to come out here, bro. That's my dog, man. He's from California. He's from Sacramento. I'm from Stockton. So, but he lives up in Little Rock. So he's one of the few people I know out here. I just be chilling, doing my thing. Really, y'all my people, man. Everybody in this chat right now is going up. It's going up. So appreciate everybody that's in here. But let's talk a little bit about the 49ers and K-Dot. You down? K-Dot, where you at, man? Where you at, K-Dot? I think this is what I'm going to do and do it a little different because I know once I have my guy on, we might go for a while and you guys might not be able to get your questions off. So I'll let you guys kind of drive the conversation this morning until he comes on in about 25 minutes. So there's the link to the chat right there. Feel free to join. Talking about some 49er football. 49ers against the Colts. If you haven't already, again, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Up in Seattle, man, you kind of far, man. You kind of far. But 49ers take on the Indianapolis Colts, and I see one person that said, man, 49ers are going to lose. Here we go. My guy, Mr. BMW Lotus. Sorry, folks. I'm just going to lose this weekend. Also, I can't even give my tickets away. Yeah. That's a very, it's not very optimistic, right? I look at this game as, it's very winnable for the 49ers. On Locked On 49ers, one of the keys to victory, and really was my first key to victory for the 49ers, was they got to take the ball away. 49ers have 2 takeaways on the season. And I think, it's really kind of unacceptable. And I think that's why everything has just been so tough for the 49ers. The defense has played well, but I think giving the offense more opportunities, and they've done a terrific job of the takeaways and things like that. But let's set up some short yardage, some short field situations that are going to lead to automatic points. I think that's the thing that the 49ers are missing. You look at, matter of fact, look at it like this, right? You look at the game against the Lions, and I get it. It was kind of weird the way that whole game played out. The Lions made a late push, but what kind of was the difference in that game? I think the biggest difference was probably the Dre Greenlaw pick six. That was a whatever you want to call it, 14-point swing or whatever, however you want to look at it. But that really ultimately was kind of the difference between making it, a 8-point win as opposed to something that would have been a little bit tighter, like we've seen from a lot of these other games. So 49ers definitely have to do a better job of taking the ball away. I think the defense is actually doing extremely well, but the lack of takeaways, that's tough. And it really reminds me of 2018, where a lot of people looked at, and I get it, 2019, the defense was so great, but 2018, the defense was actually really good. But they only had, 5 takeaways? That was the bigger issue. So what they do, they went and got Nick Bosa, D4, and the turnovers started coming. But that 2018 defense was actually kind of similar to what we're seeing right now. And even more similar from the standpoint of the offense, maybe not giving the defense a legit chance to really be successful. How's everybody mental this morning? Everybody good? Everybody good? I saw the flames coming in. Again, you already know how we do it. We got 5 flames if you're feeling great. 1 flame if you're not, but I know we all feeling better than that. It's pouring in Sacramento. So I saw that it's not even raining out here. Crazy thing being in the South, it rains a lot, like random rains. Like it's almost like a Seattle or like Portland type thing, but it's not like doom and gloom type weather. So out here, it'll be hot as hell. I mean, it'd be 90 degrees. Then all of a sudden it just start raining, and then the rain clears up, and then it's just hella humid. It's it's kind of frustrating because you never know when to wash your car. We got my guy Rich coming on, man. And again, like I said, we're going to get these out the way now because in about 20 minutes, I got my guy coming on. I'm not sure how long he's going to go on, but it's going to be the best insight that you guys hear or have heard from this show on just the NFL, how it operates, the business side of things, his experience playing for Seattle, Pete Carroll, Richard Sherman, Earl Thomas, getting the insight from all that and what made those guys tick is going to be a great show. All right, but got my guy Rich coming on. Rich, good morning. How you doing, man?
Good, man. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Yes, sir.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the game this weekend.
We got BMW Lotus, and he's saying, nah, man, 49ers are they're just gonna lose. Right? So what are your thoughts?
Everyone's entitled to their own opinion, man. I'm not gonna knock somebody for believing that they're gonna lose. So but I do have a couple keys to the game. You already talked about takeaways. The Colts are, I think, +7 in the takeaway category, and I believe we're -2 or -3, or -5. So yeah, we gotta we even if we don't win the turnover battle, we gotta at least stay even with them. But one of the things, and I know it's been touched on, we've definitely got to maybe not stop the run game, but control it. Definitely have to keep Jonathan Taylor in check. He's been balling out the last few games, especially when they use him. And it's possible that Quentin Nelson might be back, so that's going to open up the run game even further if he's healthy, because that dude's a monster on the offensive line. But a couple other things is it's going to be wet, so we need to control the clock. And the only way we can do that is by running the football. But I think the only way we can do that is we have to at least attempt to take some shots down the field. One of the things that Jimmy Garoppolo has not done this season, other than the deep ball to George Kittle, is really take any deep shots down the field. Whether we connect on them or not, they have to make those attempts, because otherwise all they're going to do is crowd the line of scrimmage. And it's not going to allow us it's not going to allow the 49ers to run the football. So what I would like to see is at least come out maybe on the first series and at least take one deep ball down the field, just to try to ease things up. Now, obviously, that's not going to be easy with it raining a lot, depending on how heavy the rain is. But we still have to at least try, and I think that'll open up the running game a little bit. But yeah, and I mean, as far as score prediction, I think it's going to be wet, rainy. I think it's going to be a slow. I think it's going to be a fast-moving game because I think both teams are going to want to control the ball with the running game. So I think this will move along pretty quickly. But I'm predicting a low-scoring game just because of that. So I'm going 2017 49ers.
All right, I like it. And I think my prediction when talking to the Colts guys on the Locked On crossover, my prediction was 24-20 49ers. So I had the 49ers I guess not covering the spread, breaking even there. But yeah, man, I definitely think it's a very winnable game for the 49ers. I think you touched on a lot of key points and having to control the ball and really take the ball away, especially in a game like this where it is going to be wet. I think it's going to come down to who does a better job taking care of the ball, who is going to be the more kind of disciplined team and the team in more control. And so far this year, that hasn't been the 49ers. Like we said, -5 in the takeover, the plus minus category, as opposed to +7 for the Colts. So they're doing a better job there. 49ers definitely have to be more disciplined with taking care of the ball this game.
Well, I appreciate your time, Crocky. I didn't want to take up too much of your time. Let other callers on, but you have a good weekend. And if I see you on Twitter on that chat, I'll hit you up on Sunday night. So,
all right, sounds good, man. Appreciate you coming on, Rich.
All right, man.
All right, here we go. We got my guy Nick coming on. Nothing but Niners. Let's go, Nick. Are you mowing the yard right now? Hold on, I can't hear you. You're muted.
I'm mowing everything.
So what? How much land is that? That looks like Arkansas right there.
Bro. This is only one side of it, so. I just had to call and check in with you, man. What's going on with you? How's things?
Oh, man, I'm chilling, man. I'm excited for the game this weekend. It's tough that it's going to rain. I'm hoping it's one of those things where eventually it just kind of clears up and they don't have to worry about playing on a wet, sloppy field. I wonder if in situations like this where it looked like the other day, I saw some pictures of the 49ers and it looked like it was wet out there. Right now, I saw somebody in the chat say that it's coming down pretty good in San Jose. I'm hoping, do they cover the field at all, or they just let it get all wet and soaked?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how they would do that. I mean, it is, it is grassy. So I just hope this doesn't turn out to be like the Washington game, right? So you go back to 2019 and it was a complete mud bowl, which was kind of surprising because Jimmy Garoppolo still threw the ball a lot in that game. Because we could not get any run game going either way. Washington couldn't, nor the Niners. Actually, I think the guy had the biggest game that week was Richie James. He was they kept going to him in that game. But it'll be
him and
interesting.
Kendrick Bourne. I think Kendrick Bourne had a few clutch catches in that game.
Yeah, he had actually.
There
two
was
really
no Deebo Samuel.
No, we had a lot of injuries that game. KB had that one touchdown that should have been a touchdown where he wasn't touched, but they called it back and put him on the 5, and we ended up kicking a field goal there. And I think Robbie Gould got hurt that game too. But
there was a lot of weird stuff going on that game. I think I was traveling from somewhere. I was driving across the country or something like that. But I was watching it on my phone. And I was just like, golly, this is a muddy, ugly game going on.
Bro, it was so bad. That was the year that I went to, I think, 13 games that year. So I was that was Washington, Baltimore year. But yeah, it was nasty there, man. And FedEx Field reminds me of Candlestick Park. It's you walk in and it's shit, is this gonna fall on me? Because it's a whole concrete building. It's all destroyed, and it's just you look at things there. But I wanted to go back because you said that the biggest thing is this weekend is takeaways, right?
Right.
To this game. And I won't take much of your time, but
no, you're good.
It's funny because the two takeaways that we have this year are from Dante Johnson, who's not going to probably play because K1's back, and the other one being Dre Greenlaw, and he's on the IR. So everybody on the field that's playing this week has not had a single takeover this year or a takeaway this year. Kind of
Right.
interesting, right? So, I wanted to get your take on Fred Warner because he seems like he's going like when I'm watching Fred Warner this year. Do you remember when he first came out? He was hitting running backs, but he was bouncing backwards. So that's kind of what he's doing again right now. I don't know why. Do you think obviously somebody asked D'Amico the other day if there's a scheme change for Fred Warner or if he had different responsibilities. And he said no, he doesn't have any different responsibilities. But if you look at Fred Warner's play, it's definitely diminished from All-Pro Fred last year. Not that he's playing bad, but what are your thoughts on the linebacking core with him?
I think if there probably is a big difference, it's probably in the run support. I mean, I haven't noticed anything where I'm like, oh man, like Fred Warner looks bad. Now I've seen some of the grades, even PFF, and his coverage grades aren't great. And it's tough because
he's had 13 targets with 11 receptions.
Right. But and again, I don't know, and I'm not making excuses for him, but I don't know how they kind of tally catches for a linebacker, because if the 49ers, who do play a good amount of like quarters and zone, things like that, if I'm in the zone and you throw it to the guy that's nearest to me, but I rally down and I make a tackle, am I credited for giving up that catch? You see what I'm saying? So I
That's
don't
a
know
good
if
question.
It's like, okay, he's been targeted 13 times, and all 13 times he was in man coverage, and he's just getting beat and giving up catches. That doesn't seem to be the issue, in my opinion. So I kind of with Fred Warner right now, and again, I mean, one thing you're talking about was leak yardage. And that was one thing that Robert Saleh was really big on, like, got to eliminate the leak yardage. I had never heard that term before. But I do think that that's probably somewhere he can improve, but he's not a like this hammer, right? Like he's not this just running through guys' chests all the time. He's a high energy guy, high effort, runs sideline to sideline, good in coverage, but he's never been just this like super like just run, stop you dead in your tracks guy. Now, again, he's going to get in there. He's going to be active. He's going to be around the ball. He's going to make tackles. But, to say, well, the leak yardage or whatever that he's given up, I think he's kind of always been that type of guy where he's going to kind of catch more tackles than actually run through guys. Don't see that really often from him. So that might be
you see a lot of it too from him now is where he's so concerned with punching the ball that he's not going through the tackle completely. So where he's slipping off or he's missing the tackle because he's trying to turn the force over. I'm going to have Jeff Deeney on the show from PFF, I think sometime this week. So I'm going to ask him that question, how those catches are credited to, with PFF. So, because I'm kind of interested, because that's the whole thing. I want to have him on the show so I can understand the whole concept of how these players are graded.
Because it's not just him; it's everybody. Al-Shire as well. Like when it comes to the coverage of the linebackers, like they are highly targeted and they're giving up a super high catch rate. And I'm just like, man, like is that like Al-Shire when he got whooped on the goal line by DK Metcalf? Like, all right, like he was right there, even if it was zone or whatever. Like he's matched up on the guy in the three spot, and you could tell like he just got whooped. Like so, from that standpoint, I get it, but I do think there are a lot of times where guys catch underneath passes or guys rally down, make the tackle. It's like, man, am I still credited for that? And it seems like the linebackers are getting dinged for that a little bit.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just, I mean, like I said, I don't think Fred's a bad player. I just think that he hasn't played with that energy or that consistency that he played with in 2019 or 2020 with the All-Pro year. But, I
also think it could look like that when you're losing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like when you're
absolutely.
losing,
I mean, winning fixes everything.
Sometimes we start to pay attention to like little things, and it's like, man, I didn't really notice that before. Or, but when you're winning and, everybody's hyped, sometimes you're more willing to kind of overlook something. So he could be doing some of the same things as he was doing before, but 49ers are losing. he's not taking the ball away, right? We're used to seeing Fred Warner punch balls out, had the pick 6 against the Rams early in last season or early in 2019 season,
19, yeah.
right? We're used to seeing him get those interceptions, things like that. Not getting those right now. And I think maybe it's just like that. I think overall, and I say this with quarterbacks, everybody looks at the plays that the quarterbacks miss, the throws they miss, and then throws that they miss are more glaring when they're not making plays, right? But when you look at guys like Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, really, nobody cares about the throws that they miss or the passes that go in the dirt, the throws that they miss so bad because they make so many plays. So when you look at Fred Warner, nobody's going to care if he misses a tackle or if he gives up leak yardage if he's making plays. But so far this year, I think that's been the biggest change. We haven't seen the playmaker Fred that we're used to seeing. And it takes one play to get on that side of the fence. So, that's something that's going to be huge this week and really a big opportunity for him to do his thing. And if it is going to be wet and muddy, go punch the ball out. Like, that's one of your specialties.
Yeah, they definitely have to. They definitely have to try to turn up the heat with turnovers and takeaways. Well, not turnovers, but takeaways. This upcoming game because Jonathan Taylor's a beast too. Like you can't let him get to. The Niners haven't given up a 100-yard rusher in I don't even know how long. You could probably have to go back to 2019. I don't think they gave up a 100-yard rusher at all 2020, and they haven't given up one yet, running back wise. It's funny because hold on, I gotta move real quick. It's funny because I wanted to talk to you about Aiyuk because everybody for some reason now is all turning back to that question that I asked you in the beginning, as in, did Brandon Aiyuk get complacent? You remember when I asked you that question? And now everybody from the local media to beat writers to everything else is saying that they think that's what's going on with Brandon Aiyuk, that he just got so complacent that he's not running the routes the way that Kyle Shanahan wants him to. And you know how Kyle Shanahan, he's a perfectionist, especially with routes that are clear out routes, right? So do you think that's I hear you talk on Locked On 49ers and you guys give great insight over there and listen to you guys every morning, but do you think Brandon Aiyuk gets out of this slump this year?
Oh man, it's tough sometimes when you start to kind of get in your own head and get in your way, and it could lead to, really getting in this slump like he is, and maybe like somewhat of lack of confidence. And we've seen this with other players. It only takes that one game to really get out of that rut. So if he can go into a game like, this Sunday night on the bright lights and have a big game where it's like, okay, 7 catches, 95 yards, a touchdown, something like that, then you start to kind of stack those games together and everybody forgets about the kind of slow start or whatever. And they kind of look forward and just say, well, he was just going through something. I think it's up to him, man. And he's the one that's going to have to figure that out. And if you listen to Kyle Shanahan, you listen to John Lynch, they've said as much, right? They've put it on him. Where it's like, look, we told him what we're expecting from him and what we need him to do and what we need him to be. And it's on him to meet us there. And as of right now, it sounds like so far he hasn't met them with where they want him to be. And there could be some complacency that's going on. I don't want to put that on him, but I've seen it, and I know how it is with guys that just expect to be there. And maybe they stop doing some of the things that got them to that point. And it happens to a lot of guys. And it's something that's hard to gauge when you're scouting or evaluating the talent. But yeah, Aiyuk is going to have to really look in the mirror and figure out what he can do better. And I'm pretty sure everybody's heard my story about how I got benched after week 3 of my senior year. And, how the conversation surrounding it was basically that, Croc, you got complacent. We didn't like how you're carrying yourself, setting a bad example for some of the younger guys and really kind of being outworked. And I had to say, you know what? All right, they're right. And I had to change that. And I did end up being all conference and everything. But,
yeah, and that was after your 18 interceptions or whatever the year after that, right?
No. That's so what I'm talking about happened in college. But
in college. Okay.
But even then, like, my last year playing with San Jose SaberCats, we won a title. I got the ring right here. I always show you guys the ring. Hold on. I'm really proud of it. This is the only championship I've ever won. So, But
Even as a kid?
got my bling bling. Yeah, even as a kid, I never won a championship.
Oh, damn.
So with the San Jose SaberCats, man, it was tough because everything that I had done, they changed up, and that was me coming off of a year where I won. I mean, I had 11 interceptions, but they were saying like, well, yeah, you had 11 interceptions, but look at all the areas where you're vulnerable, and look at like this isn't great and this isn't good, and look at this and look at that. Like we want you to be more consistent here. So they changed up everything that I did, and it was really tough. There was a really tough transition with it, and ultimately it clicked right around the first game. But leading up to that, like all throughout basically kind of our OTAs in the Arena League, the offseason training camp, all that, I was struggling. I was struggling because they changed up everything with how I did it. And right when that first game happened, it clicked. It clicked. And that's what Aiyuk is maybe going through, where he was able to kind of go through the motions with certain things last year, and he was successful. And they were like, well, he might be doing things wrong, but we have to kind of go to him because who else do we have out there?
There's nobody else there, right?
Right. Well, this year, it's like, well, you have Deebo Samuel. He's playing at a high level. You have other guys who are playing as well, I guess, even though I don't see Trent Sherfield really being heavily involved. But you look at kind of, where they're at right now, and they're like, well, we don't have to force feed Brandon Aiyuk the ball. And maybe that's what he's going through. Well, he's going to have to figure it out. It's going to be on him.
Yeah, and I think, like, I'm hoping that, like, I don't think Brandon Aiyuk is the same as, I don't want to compare him to a Dante Pettis, but I mean in mindset-wise. If you remember, Dante Pettis came out and said, I just took Kyle Shanahan's criticism the wrong way, and I just didn't want to play football anymore. Like, I just didn't. You remember? So, Brandon Aiyuk is used to being that dude, right? So, South Carolina, he was that dude. Like, he's used to being that guy, and now that that's been kind of taken away from him, I hope that his mindset is right and that he just continues to work at it and like you said, hopefully it clicks sooner or later. And in the end, like it did with you, it made you better. And hopefully that's what it does with Brandon Aiyuk, and hopefully he can get through this because we really need him on the team.
You got to look at it too from this standpoint, and this could be the difference between myself, him, and maybe other people that go through certain things like this and eventually get out of it. Like say like a Josh Allen, right? Who came into the league and it wasn't perfect for him, and he had to really work through that. Me, I was never like just the most talented, athletic guy on the field at any level in my life. So I had to work really hard, and a big part of it was being able to take constructive criticism to really up my level of play. Now, when I say that, like, yeah, obviously I was really talented, but I wasn't always the most talented person. And sometimes guys are able to just get through based on athleticism, and they don't understand the other parts of it, and they've never really been coached really hard because they are so talented, and everybody feels like, well, I need you. So they let guys slide through with certain things. And then you get to the NFL and you have a coach like Kyle Shanahan who's going to challenge you to be even a better version. I talk about this all the time with people when they ask about marriage and things like that. And I've been married going on 6 years. I know it's not a long time, but it's a long time to me. And one thing how I was I was
you
really,
just said that when you just said that, it made me laugh because your comment the other day on IG. So
yeah. So I was the person that, and my wife would tell you, it was like, man, like I'm me, and you got to either take it or like you could just be gone. And that was my mindset.
There was no give or
like,
take, right? Yeah.
There was no give or take. Like, and I'm not really changing. Like this is just me. But one thing that I have learned from my wife and other, really my wife, you can always be a better version of yourself, right? You can always be a better version, but you have to be willing to kind of look in the mirror, dig deep, and find areas where you really can improve, and be willing and open to change and improving on those things. I'm still me. I'm still Eric Crocker, but I'm a better version of myself today than I was 8 years ago when I met my wife.
Right.
And I say that, to say with Brandon Aiyuk, okay, you've been doing things a certain way, and that could be you, Brandon Aiyuk. You could be that, but you can always be a better version of you. You can always be a better version of what Brandon Aiyuk is. And I think that's what Kyle Shanahan is doing. He's trying to dig deep to get Brandon Aiyuk to find that better version of himself.
Yeah, and that's what I say. I do totally agree. I think that's exactly what it is. But Croc, man, I appreciate you, bro. Like, more than you know. So definitely got to get up with you once you get that building built, man. I got to come out there and check it out in Arkansas.
Yeah, come on, man. I got a place for you to stay and everything. It's all good.
Yeah, man. Hey, man, I'll come anytime. But I'll let you go. I'm gonna keep the phone on and listen to your guest once he gets on there. But keep up the good work, man. Keep grinding, and I'm glad that I'm so proud of you, dude. So proud of
Oh,
you.
appreciate it. Hey, remember,
Yeah,
y'all turned me on to this. I
I
had
know
never
that's
been
what
on
I'm saying,
YouTube or
man.
any
I'm
of that
like,
stuff. Nothing but Niners got me on YouTube, and that was the first time I ever did anything like that, whether it was like podcasting or being on anything. And remember, I was like, well, I'm not no writer or anything like that, but I'll talk football with y'all. And Nothing but Niners, man, they were the first guys to kind of get me into this space. So I appreciate you, Nick.
nah, I appreciate you more, man. And keep up the good work. I'm super proud of you, man. And keep grinding. And much love. And I'll talk to you later.
All good, all good. All right. Here we go. Still waiting on my guy again. If you haven't already, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button right now. All right. Right there. Boom. Oh, I got it right the first time. Underdog Fantasy. If you haven't already, download the Underdog Fantasy app right now. Don't wait. When you sign up and you put in or deposit a minimum of $10, use promo code Crocky. They'll throw an additional $10 into your account. They got all kind of player prop stuff, under overs with the players. I have a lot of fun with it. It's not just a fantasy app for football. They got fantasy football, baseball, basketball, and different props and wagers and things like that. So if you are kind of a betting man, you can make some money a little bit. I had in one of my parlays yesterday. I had a parlay that Teddy Bridgewater would throw for under 250 yards, and he threw for 180. It's like you can do things like that, make you some money, man. So Underdog Fantasy, promo code Crocky. Make sure you guys do that. All right, here we go. Got my guy Dion coming on again. I'm about to have my guy. Come on, former Seattle Seahawks, former Jacksonville Jaguar, former Indianapolis Colt, and he's gonna have some terrific insight on the NFL and the ins and outs of it, the business side of things, playing for Pete Carroll, what it was like, playing with Sherman and all these other guys, and just talking about the ins and outs and a lot of the things that you guys want to hear. So he actually clicked in. First, I'm gonna get my guy Dion on real quick, and then my guy Winston's gonna be clicking in. All right. So here we go. Dion, what's up, Mark? What's up, man?
What's good? What's good with you, Crocky? Good morning, brother.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How you doing this morning, man?
Yeah. Hey, man, I'm good. I'm on the other side of the grass, open both eyes. I can't complain, man. I can't complain.
So I typically ask you because I know sometimes, you come on here and everybody's like, oh, man, he's so negative. So I want to know, I got to ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know, what is one thing about you that you are proud of?
I am proud that I grew up in Los Angeles, California. I've never been shot, and I've never been arrested, and I've never been a gang member. In the era that I grew up in, that is a hard thing to do. Not to say that I don't know people who have been through those situations, but I am from that area, and I have never had any of those three things happen to me, and I still haven't had any of those three things happen to me. I just mind my business and go about my day.
If you could say one characteristic about yourself that you're extremely proud of, what would that be?
Personality, man. I'm a people person, and I blend with any and everybody. I remember working with a dude who's from New York, and people couldn't deal with him because of the way he carried himself and his attitude and how he came across. And I just asked him one day, I was like, bro, like, are you purposely like that? He was like, nah, bro, it's just who I am. It's just how we move in New York. I was like, okay, so that's just that's what it is. He was like, yeah. I was like, oh, all right, cool. It's nothing. Like, you just learn to adapt to people the way that they are and start to understand them, and it'll make your life easier, man. Growing up in LA, we had a melting pot of people. So I was very fortunate to learn about people from all different walks of life, races, creeds, colors, size, all that stuff, man. So I'm fortunate and I'm happy. And don't worry, people. I'm actually very optimistic about this game versus the Colts. And I have I have a good feeling that the run game is going to be our saving grace. Kyle did say that he was giving most of the work to Elijah Mitchell. I was kind of banking on him doing a 1-2 punch with Trey Sermon and Elijah Mitchell, but I honestly feel like this game, the run game gets back on track and it does what it's supposed to do. Kyle uses the run to set up the pass. So we slide through this game based off of our run game the same way Cleveland slid on the Broncos last night with their run game, even without Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt.
All right, man. So I'm gonna get my guy Winston on, man. But I appreciate you
Yeah.
coming on and giving that.
Hey,
When he gets off, if you're still in here, we'll have to get you back on to rap a little bit more.
yeah, but hey, I want to hear this dude. I like to hear the knowledge. Love the game from people who've been in the game. Appreciate you, Cry. Have a good one, brother.
All right,
Peace and
all right.
blessings.
Yes, sir. All right, here we go. So again, if you haven't already, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I am now about to introduce my guest for today, and I'm really excited about this because again, I had him on Spaces a while back, and we ended up going for, I don't know, we were on for like 3-4 hours because Winston got on and started going in. So my guy Winston Guy, man, what's good with you?
What's happening, bro? How you been?
Oh man, I'm chilling. I hope I didn't catch you at a bad time.
Oh, nah, brother. I told you, man, when I texted you last night, I got my workout and stuff in, so I kind of get my day started and stuff before I take the kids and stuff to the school. Well, the old lady took the kids to the school, so usually on her days off, I get it in real early. So, how you doing, bro? I like what you doing, dog. For real.
I'm doing good, man. And so
That's smooth.
for those of you who don't know, this is my guy. His name is Winston Guy. Winston Guy was a safety for the Seattle Seahawks during the Legion of Boom era. Also played for Jacksonville Jaguars, played for the Indianapolis Colts. So he has kind of some insight on how that organization is ran. But a lot of times when I get people on here, first thing I do is I want to ask them about kind of their mental. So I want to know, how are you doing from a mental standpoint?
Man, one thing I'm blessed, bro, to be honest with you. I guess I can say just kind of going through the NFL and just like after the league, you know what I'm saying? I specifically myself, and I'm pretty sure a lot of future and past people are probably going to go through this someday. I hope not. But, I was fortunate enough to have to suffer a death in my family, like right in the middle of my NFL career. And I got hurt that same year. You know what I'm saying? My mom had passed away in 2016. I was with the Indianapolis Colts at the time. And that was the moment, bro, that I realized that football is more than just playing the game, bro. Like, it's more that goes into being an actual athlete than just what people see. You know what I'm saying? And I went through a lot, bro, in 2016. And that actually, I chose to pick my mental health, bro, over playing football more. I know that today I could still play or just, I had suffered an injury the year that my mom passed away. So I kind of make a conscious decision on just like my health, longevity, because to me, bro, coming from Lexington, Kentucky, coming from a small town, growing up with two parents in my household, bro, and just kind of going through a lot of things I went through as a child, I'm blessed, bro. Like, now I'm being 31 and sitting back and reminiscing, like, bro, like my mind was different than most people. Everybody has that trigger on why they play football. And the reason why I play football is because my mom and dad and my sister, bro, like that was my only intermediate family that I had. And it almost seemed like I was the one out of my entire family overall that had an opportunity to play in the NFL. And I never thought for a second that I would play in the league. I just loved playing football. It just wasn't a purpose. Like, if I don't make it to the league, my life is over. It was never that mindset, because I grew up, and I'm pretty sure you can vouch for the same thing, bro. I grew up where we was playing Dino Man in the backyard. You feel what I'm saying? Like, we was playing tackle football in backyards, bro. Like, I come from somewhere, you know what I'm saying, hopping over people's fences, driving, you know what I'm saying, riding bikes and stuff over people's neighborhood just to play ball, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, bro. We did it all. I was a 4-sport athlete. You feel what I'm saying? It wasn't just about football. Like, I played every sport. So I was dynamic in every sport. Football just consumed me, bro, because that was like my first love. You feel me? So I watched footballs on Sundays. My favorite player ever growing up, bro, when I was a kid was Dion Sanders. Then that led into me loving Sean Taylor. Those are my two favorite players ever. You know what I'm saying? So that was like my goal. Like I wanted to play like those dudes. Like that was
Yeah.
like my ideal. Like if people go back, if people follow me on Twitter or my Instagram or my Facebook, and you look at all my college pictures, even some of my NFL, bro, I used to go to practice. I wore tape on my fingers, dog. I thought I was Sean Taylor every day, bro. Like I had the swag, like I had it all, bro. Like I wanted to go out there and play, and it wasn't for myself, it's for my teammates. It was never about me. It was always about what people can see me do. Because I was always an
Yeah.
underdog growing up. So being blessed to be a 6th round pick to the Seahawks, it was like a dream come true, but it was hard to soak in because it was like you grow up as a kid and you be like, man, like playing in the league, this, and that. Then soon you get into the business, it's a whole different mindset. And it's like, dang,
Yeah.
like people will be like, oh, it's a brotherhood. And you'd be like, it's hard for me to say that because different organizations are ran different. You know what I'm saying? And like I was fortunate enough to go to my first team and being in Seattle, like that shit was like lit, bro. It was like a legitimate brotherhood. Like I had a chance to
You hold on. So real quick, you did get a question here where it says, "What was it like playing with Earl Thomas, Chancellor, Sherman, and those guys? Or were those guys different? What was the mentality like there?"
yo, stress, bro. Like I developed anxiety my rookie year because I had Coach Chris Richard from USC. He was with Coach Curl back when he coached at USC. He came on. He was my DB coach, and like the moment I got there, like the expectations was so high. Like it almost seemed like for me, like the margin of error mistake was small. Like these dudes was like legitimate pros. Like when I talk about they was on it, bro. Like on it. Like we would run routes. Like we would do like before like practices started, like team D,
Yeah.
you go like the scout team. If you ain't started, you on the
Doing like a
scout
little
team running
walkthrough,
routes.
like type thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So Pete would be the quarterback and we would go through the routes. And I remember I would run routes and stuff like that, like full ass speed. Like I'm giving them their reps. And like Richard Sherman would run the route before I even get there. And I'd be like, yo, like, how you know this? Like, what are these tendencies that seeing you like understand this? And just coming from like if you understand like who Richard Sherman was, he was a receiver. He was an athlete in high school, but he was a
Yeah.
receiver when he went to Stanford. So he knew like that concept of being a receiver. So transferring to corner, it made his life easy. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure he was very coached at Stanford. So I'm not surprised, he's still playing this long. And my opinion, I think that, it might be possible that in the future he might be a Hall of Famer, bro. I mean, if you look at his statistics and his longevity, bro, like, I mean, it kind of speaks for itself, but that's for people to kind of vouch for that. But those guys was great. I ain't gonna lie. Earl Thomas and Cam taught me a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like I learned a lot from those guys. Just being a pro, to be honest with you. It was really never about football. It was like being a pro, like how they carry themselves, like how they like preparate themselves for the game, like how serious they took that and like took care of their body. You know what I'm saying? But it was tough though. It's different. Those guys was actually 3-4 years already in the league, established, money. They had a lot of resources of themselves individually. I'm a 6th round pick, bro. You feel me? So
Yeah.
my signing bonus, like, I'm like, y'all, I gotta make the team. So I'm like, I gotta be on special teams. And that's the only way I'm gonna be able to make this team because it was too much talent on that team that year. That year prior, we had played the Falcons the 2nd round that year and we lost. And then that second year, going into my 2nd year in the league, I had got released. And that's when I went to Jacksonville for a couple of years and I played in Indy. But it was a great experience, bro. Like,
What
there's
was the
nothing.
difference between the culture of Indianapolis as opposed to the culture of Seattle?
Like, Pete was different, bro. Like, Pete had that college mentality where, like, it didn't matter how old you was or how many years you played in the league. Like, we was out there competing. You know what I'm saying? So that automatically made guys that was less of what the league sees you as, or draft status, undrafted, that kind of boosts your confidence. Like, y'all finna go out here and make a play today, bro. Like, because it's so exciting to go in and watch film and see you making plays and like doing those different things, like the atmosphere. So that was fun. When I went to Indy, it was just different. Like training room different. Like Seattle had it all, bro. Like when it came to just like resources, it was state of the art. When I went to Indy, it was just like, like the facility wasn't as dynamic as it probably is now. I'm pretty sure the owner invested a lot more money into the facilities for the players. You know what I'm saying? Even when I went to Jacksonville, it was amazing, bro. Like Jacksonville was like another step right where Seattle. But when I went to Indy, it was just like, man, as a player, I'm not surprised that this team is not as good as it should be because they don't have the resources, bro. Like injuries, like I'm not surprised that Andrew Luck's career was cut short based off of, the things that he had to do. But we didn't have the resources, like the training table, like it was totally different there when Chuck Pagano was a head coach. So like I can't speak on what it is now because I'm pretty sure it's a lot better. This as far as ownership, bringing revenue in and making sure their players can have longevity. That's the most important is how you going to have a $1 billion owner, but you got a terrible facility and players is hurt every single week. Where's the recovery process with the players? Where's the actual real investment? You know what I'm saying? That's the most important part for these players now and today. It's just different than where you was at, where I played at. Like, it was just different, and it's probably
real
different
quick
now.
I want you to touch on that. So you talked about longevity, you talk about investing and things like that. Can you talk about the money in the NFL and like the realistic side of it? Because I think a lot of people think like, oh, you make it to the NFL, you're making millions of dollars. And for most people, that's not really the case, between kind of like the taxes, the fees, the agent fees, things like that. A lot of people giving money to their family and their lifespan of an NFL player isn't very long. So there are a lot of guys there. I think there are more guys that get into the league and are out, and then they have to try to figure out what's next. But can you talk to these people a little bit about just kind of the difference, like not even just the difference, but the realistic side of money and how to kind of eventually make your money kind of work for you?
So, the most realistic thing I can say is, and I'm pretty sure you can touch on after this, but you gotta think, as student athletes coming from college, we get a full scholarship, full ride to a college that pays for everything. And we go into college for 4 years or 3 years or however long we play in college. And we go through these college classes, courses and stuff. And 9 times out of 10, mostly student athletes pick college courses that can keep them eligible on the field. You feel me? It's not more like, okay, let me take actual credits to a degree that I actually really want to excel in after football. So you take these courses and, you don't really learn too much about financial literacy, in colleges. Most of the time they don't teach you how to, they'll sell you a credit card. They'll tell you all this, buy this, but then they don't sit you down, or you're not actually fully educated enough to understand, like, what does it mean to have a credit card? Like, how can I, invest in the stocks exchanges, like small things like that. And you go get an opportunity to go train for the combine. You do all these things to get yourself in the position. And then you get drafted or undrafted. You go into a position where they have that's why the NFL has a salary cap. Every single team in the league, all 32 teams, has a cap. So that means that's how much the owner can spend with 50 with 8. Now I think you get like 8 or somewhere around those extra, like those practice squad guys. So you get 53-man roster, and then you get those extra 8 or 9 players that you got on the practice squad. So owners have to break that down from the highest paid player on their team to the lowest paid. You feel what I'm saying? And it's all contracts depending on the year. So that's how much you get paid. So for example, let me use a number wise. Say like, oh, I signed a 2-year deal for $10 million. Your agent goes into the contract like $10 million, like, dang, that sounds like a lot. But then you're like, how can I get as much as money as I can up front? You know what I'm saying? That's the most important, because most of the time they look at ages and they look at number caps. They're like, okay, well, if we give 10 million for 2 million, I might be able to play 1 year out of this contract and get as much as money as I can. Going into that next year, I might be a casualty cap. Whether I'm like 3 million or 2.5 million, that'd be better off getting rid of me first to add extra 2 or 3 more guys on the roster, whether
Right.
it's low pay guys or practice squad. And that's how they look at it. So you got to think game by game, taxes getting taken out of your check. And you got to think all these bro, you got to think you can't live in certain places. Like, you got to think about everything, Eric, bro. You like
you was in Seattle,
groceries.
and I know it's probably a little bit more expensive to live in Seattle as opposed to like when you were in Jacksonville or Indianapolis, right?
Yes. But you got to think, like, I'm from Kentucky, bro. I'm coming all the way on the West Coast to learn. It's a whole different time change. Everything's different. Like, I'm going to a whole new city, like diversified places. Like I'm learning everything. I'm learning how to be a pro. I got to be on time at practice. I got to have an agent to keep me on the team. I got to manage my money. Like, bro, like, you know how much anxiety and stress that goes into that? And everything goes down to what? Playing ball. Owners, general managers, coaches, they don't give a shit about none of that stuff off of football, bro. They care about what can you do right now. Like, what have you done for me lately? Like, anybody that's not on a contract, bro, is expendable. It don't matter who you are. Like, you'll have more anxiety playing on a team, and you know that you got, like, your base salary is $350,000 for the year. You'd be like, 350. You know how much Uncle Sam is going to get at the end of the year, plus 17 games that you're going to be playing and taxes taken out. So you might walk away with what, 175? And you got to live off of that for a year. And you got to think, like, am I going to be here next year? Like, am I actually one of the guys? Like, it's easy to replace practice. It's easy to replace practice squad and special teams guys. It's easy. If you're not a starter, you can get cut easy by next day. You feel what I'm saying? So You got to think all that money and stuff that they give you, you be like, how can I invest in with my money? I can't just take $175,000 and go buy me a house. That's how much houses cost these days. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you gotta think, okay, how much revenue am I gonna have to put into this house, and then how much I'm gonna have to pay for a mortgage? Everything comes into that, bro. Like, it ain't just a mortgage. You gotta think about your lifestyle, car payments, everything comes into these expenses. So after you get cut or never play in the NFL, you gotta think like, okay, what I gotta do now? Like, do I actually have enough financial literacy that I understand how to invest? Like, doing this, like, if you got children, like, you just never know what situation you may be in. And 9 times out of 10 as players, but we're fighting to make as much as money. Because once this game is over with, it's over.
It's over, yeah.
Like, you gotta think, I went to college, bro. I graduated with a degree. You feel what I'm saying? And I played in the NFL, and I got invested as a player. But then once football is over with, I'm like, man, like, what's next? Like, what am I going to do now? Like, what am I actually really good at? Like, what is my next step of life? Like, what is my next chapter like? Like, what am I going to do now? You know, and that'd be the hardest thing. Like, what am I going to figure out? Like, we live in a whole different wave, bro. You got to think, when we was in college and stuff, we knew how to work the MySpaces. We knew how to work the Facebook. But we go into football, our whole life is consumed into sports. And once we get done, we're like, man, like, life and all type of stuff passes by, technology, and then we got to figure out how YouTube works. We got to figure out how TikTok works. We got to figure out how Instagram works. We got to figure out all these different resources and avenues, and our own children are caught up in this social media world better than us as parents, and we're catching on.
Right.
And you be like, okay, like, if you can find somebody to make money off of just doing something so simple, like, what can I do to put myself in the position to actually give back? That's the most important. Giving back to the kids, giving back to the next generation. Like, it's free game over here, bro. You feel me? Like I would never tell anybody, or I would never show anybody something that I've never done before or I never experienced. And if I've never experienced, I'm gonna ask questions. I'm never gonna give you any information that I've never endured myself or I don't know. That's why we got people like you, bro, friends like you, where we like pick up the phone, like text, like, yo, Eric, like I need your help with something, like you got some advice, bro, like you might have been through this and like I'm trying to get through this and like this and that. And that's all it takes. And it's all about finding like what actually works for you. And once you find that niche, you be like, oh shoot, I'm about to run with it, because everything is all about being organic. You know what I'm saying? If you can be honest with yourself and what you actually want to do with your next step of life, bro, then you'll figure out what you actually want. And I actually figured out what I want because it took me time to sit back and reminisce on my life and be like, damn, Winston, like you really actually made somebody of yourself. Like, don't pressure yourself on not accomplishing more than what God has actually gave you.
Right.
So I had to give myself a pat on the back, like, yo, you went to high school, your jersey got retired, you went to college, you graduated, you played in the league, now you got your own LLC business, you open up to train kids. Like, what's the next? So I'm like, shoot, these kids are the future. I want kids to be able to have an opportunity what we didn't have. You feel me? Like, I wish I grew up in a neighborhood where I had an NFL player that played in the league that gave back and be like, man, my mom and dad would have gave up everything for me to train with this person. Like, this person played in the league. Only thing they can give me is word of wisdom for me. So when I go into this position, I'm like, man, like, now I know. I don't have to make these mistakes no more. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to make these necessary mistakes. And that's what's important, bro. Like, God's going to bless you in so many ways when you're able to give back from what you've taken. And once you get yourself out from being selfish within yourself with all the accolades, like none of that stuff matters if you're not giving it back. You know what I'm saying? That took me a long time to realize that, bro. Like, because I had to take pride into like who I was as a person and be like, man, like, Winston, you should be proud of yourself, because I've always been so humble and I've always never sat back and realized what I actually really accomplished because I didn't have time to. It was always, what's next? Like, I got to figure out how I'm going to make this team. Like, I ain't got time to be thinking about what I've done in the past. I got to think about what's going on now, because that's what's important. And then you realize all the things you miss time with your kids, family, things like all type of stuff, bro. You grow up as a kid missing, like when you, and people know, like a lot of people don't know, when you're an NFL player, 9 times out of 10, you can't even find a stabilized church in the place that you at to be able to have some type of balance. But you got all these chapels, and you be like, man, I actually want to belong to a church where you got different religious beliefs, and you don't got no time to do that. The league supplies you with that. You be like, man, like this ain't normal. But I gotta make it normal because this is what I signed up for, and that's what they tell you. Like, this is what you signed up for. You be like, well, shoot, maybe that might be the case, but why ain't tell me? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is the NFL really hiding behind closed doors? Like, why are we not in a position where we can be taken care of once we playing? Like, y'all think it's easy to go out there hitting people, going in, crashing, like after the games? You feel like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and we shooting all shots up to get ourselves ready for games. Like people don't realize, like, mentally, like what it is. Like, there ain't no time to rest. We get out of practice, come home 7, 8 o'clock at night, got to get right back into the playbook, study for the next day, wake up at 5:30 in the morning, do this all over again. And you got to love it. You can't get bored because you got to find ways of, like, how am I going to get better? Like, most people trying to grind this thing out, Eric, bro, to get paid. So once this game is over with, bro, like, we got to figure out what's next in life. People skip college to go to the league.
Hold on, I got a question for you. All right, so the 49ers have this receiver right now. His name is Brandon Aiyuk. And some think that maybe some complacency has set in. He had a good rookie year. And this year, it seems like the GM, John Lynch, and really Kyle Shanahan, they're kind of speaking in code where they're kind of like, well, he's not doing this. He's not doing certain things. We're trying to get him to understand what it means to be a pro. But can you speak to maybe some of the complacency that can kind of set in at the professional level? And if you went through that, or if you've seen other guys go through that?
I'm gonna tell you this trick. I'm about to put some people on some game, bro. So I'm gonna tell you how the NFL works. So I understand that concept. The whole general manager, Brandon Aiyuk, I think he went to ASU, Arizona State. Yeah, so he played with Keneal Harry, I think. Am I correct? Him and Keneal play with each other?
Yeah, Nikhil Harry. Yeah, Nikhil Harry.
Yeah, that's how. Yeah. So it's how the league works. So you got to think these teams, all these people that work in the organization, they have a job. Whether it's putting film on their iPad, like a lot of these people that are intrigued with like passing coordinators, all this stuff that goes into the game to get prepared. So this is what happens. These coaches and mostly the coaches are the people that report to the general manager, and the owners just own the team. But make a long story short, these people have tracking devices on how much you watch film, what you do, how you break your film down. They have people that go into practice that be on the side. It'd be 1,000 people out in practice, and you don't be knowing. It'd be people on the pad, and it might be somebody that has a job that be like, hey, or it might be John Lynch might be on the side talking, be like, hey man, I want you to sit here for the whole practice, and I want you to take notes on Brandon Aiyuk and see how he's doing. And he might do that for the whole entire week to see how his preparation. See, like, is he 10 to 15 minutes out at practice early to see if he's actually working on doing like extra stuff before practice? Like, they track all of that stuff, bro. Like, because there's so much stuff that goes on in these organizations where you think it's cool, you out chilling, you kikiing, everybody be joking around the locker room and stuff. But some people be like, boom, practice starts at a certain time. Somebody already 20 minutes out before practice, before we go through team stretching, already warming up, doing like, that's what I mean by like complacency. Like, man, so if they expecting so much from a person like him and he's a high draft pick, they're gonna only do so much. Like, man, we're gonna keep tracking. Okay, he did it, all right, boom. We got another guy that's might be 4th or 5th on the roster that's receiver. Like, man, like, he been busting his ass. Let's see what he can do. Let's try to throw a wrench in and see like how Brandon Aiyuk responds to like, hey, Brandon, like, we're gonna give so.
Bro, that's exactly what happened. Listen, that's exactly what happened.
Like,
it's Trent Sherfield.
He gonna be like, hold on. He's still at my reps. Like, what's really going on? And then that's when you start to get anxiety, that trigger started coming in. You're like, man, what am I not doing? Like, it's something that I'm not doing. Like, am I not watching the film? Like, what are they actually doing? They be knowing that stuff, Eric, bro. Like, this game is not made for players, bro, to be successful in a way. Because if you're expendable, they're going to find a way to get rid of you. So, in my opinion, if Brandon Aiyuk don't show what he got going on in these next couple of weeks, bro, they're going to replace him. They're going to find somebody else. He's going to slide down in the depth chart, and by the end of the year, he's going to be gone. And that's what's going to happen. And that's how the league works. Like, if you ain't got, like, if he can't play receiver and he's 3rd and 4th, he slides 3rd and 4th on the depth chart, you know what the special teams coach going to be doing? Hey, Brandon, I need you to we might need you to play gunner this week. We might need to put you on the 5 as on the kickoff, and that might be your last outing to stay on the team. Bro, I'm telling you how it works. And if he can't play special teams, he's gone. That 2nd round, 3rd round pick, or how high pick, they're not gonna care. They're gonna find somebody else, next man up, and that's how the league works.
Man, that's great, and people, they love that because he's kind of been going through that, but then it's like, well, they got him returning the punt here and there, but he's not getting the targets that people thought he would get. They're starting to get guys reps over him. Travis Benjamin, Trent Sherfield, Mohamed Sanu, those guys are starting to get more reps than Brandon Aiyuk, or actually even more targets, or have plays kind of drawn up more for them. So a lot of what you're saying, that's probably what's going on. And all I could kind of think of was like the complacency, but I forget about the guys on the sideline. And I remember being there, and I remember like I got beat down the sideline by Stephen Hill, right? And then I look over and I see Aaron Glenn. So now Aaron Glenn he's a defensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions. But at this time for the Jets, who Aaron Glenn played for the Jets back in the day. But at this time, Aaron Glenn, he was just like a scout person or something like that for the Jets. He wasn't no coach or nothing at this time. So I got beat by Stephen Hill. I look over and I see him writing something on his notepad. You know what I'm saying? But they do be out there like taking notes on everything that you're doing.
The eye in the sky never lie. I'm pretty sure you probably been out when you was with the Jets, bro. I'm pretty sure you went out practice and you just started looking around and be like, man, like they got camera guys posted all the way on top of the buildings and stuff. You be thinking like they video like the eye and they videotaping everything. I'm talking about, bro, like they take track of that, especially when you're losing. Oh man, when you're losing, like I've seen it all, Eric, and that might be a discussion for another day for us. Just like what it be like as a player being in the locker room or being like in a DB room, and like how coaches be acting when you're losing, and you be like, yo, like what is going on? Like this can't be the NFL, bro. It just might just be the team that I'm on. Like it's wild, bro. Like it puts you in a position, Eric, where like sometimes like you get to a point where you be like, man, like football ain't even fun no more. You know what I'm saying? Like you almost have to make the games funner than practice. I like having fun, and I always look forward to practicing than the games because I always wanted to figure out like how can I get better at something the next day. The game should be easy because that's the preparation. Like you get from Monday. People don't know how the NFL schedule works. You got Monday. Let's track Sunday. Sunday game day. Monday you come in watch film. Tuesday's players day off. People come in probably do treatment and stuff, rehab, lift. Wednesday practice, first and second down. Thursday, third and fourth down. Fridays red zone. Saturdays walkthrough. Sunday's game. Then if you got a Thursday night game, you probably gonna come in, watch film. You ain't even probably gonna get a day off. You're gonna go right into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday's game. You feel what I'm saying? That's just how it works. It's clockwork.
Hey,
like, you
Winston,
should be tired.
So we got a question here. What's the best receiver you played against? So I think this is a two-part question. One, what's the best receiver you played against, whether you had to cover him or not? And then two, just seeing a guy in person, was there just this one guy where you're just like, God damn, this dude is different, whether it's like a Calvin Johnson or a Julio Jones, or what's the guy that, one, you guarded and you're just like, damn, I can't do nothing with him. And then another thing where you just look at a guy and you're like, this don't even look like a real human.
I'm going to throw this loop. Man, I'm going to tell you, my rookie year, when we played against the Atlanta Falcons, we was in this a package called Bandit for Seattle. It's like a nickel package. You take a linebacker, bring an extra safety or a corner in. And I had to cover Tony Gonzalez. And I was like, yo, I grew up watching this dude, and he's a Hall of Famer. And I was like, you know, I'm like 6'2", 220. I'm like, yo, this dude is 6'7", playing tight end. And he's a Hall of Famer, and I got to cover. Like, he was the hardest guy I ever had to cover because I was outsized. Like, this man he had hands of bricks, bro. Like, his hands was huge. Like, he was tough. And I remember after the game, when we lost against them, I ran up to Tony. I was like, man, like, you're an idol. Like, I watched you growing up. Like you're like a Hall of Famer, bro. He was such a professional, bro. Like him and Larry Fitzgerald, like those two was probably the best guys that just like real good human beings. I mean, I had a lot of guys. I mean, Mercedes Lewis, like guys that are played in the league for a long time, and these dudes are real legitimate professionals. And I'm like, man, like you don't come across too many players that play that long. You know, Mercedes Lewis is still playing. Like he's been in the league forever. You feel me? So you'd be like, man, like it's like a dream come true when you're playing against guys you used to play on Madden. You feel me? It was crazy.
Hey, that's great. Did you ever get to see like Calvin Johnson in person? Because I remember I saw him.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So what was that like? Because so my first experience seeing Calvin Johnson, this was actually 2010. my girlfriend at the time, she bought me and her a ticket to go to the 49ers versus Lions game. And Calvin Johnson, they threw a deep ball to him. And I think it was Dan Orlowski at this time. I don't think it was Matthew Stafford yet, but they threw a deep ball to him.
Orlowski.
And like the ball like went over his head or whatever in the end zone. So he ran right by me. And I was like, what the hell is that? Like, what kind of person is it? So I text my brother immediately, right? And I text my brother, I'm like, BJ, I just saw Calvin Johnson, bro. Like, this is the biggest receiver I've ever seen in my life. How do you guard him? And my brother was like, you don't. Like, there's nothing. Did you ever get to see Calvin Johnson in person?
Yeah, I was in man, where was I at? It was my rookie year. We played against when I was in Seattle, we played against Detroit. That might have been I was going into my what was it? Yeah, we played against them. And that was the year I think Golden Tate was on the team.
Okay,
and I think that might have been Calvin Johnson's last year, bro. And like it was crazy because I was like, man, like I had the Calvin Johnson cleats on that game, bro. Like it was tight, but then I was just like, man, I was like, he's everything that they advertised, and I was just like, when I seen him like playing on offense, he made the game slow. Like it didn't seem like he was running fast, but he like this his stride, like how he would get open, bro. Like he was real fluid with his route running, and like he was just different. You know what I'm saying? Like he wasn't no like outspoken person. He wasn't like that. He didn't have like that Odell Beckham persona, like that, you know, like that Devontae Adams, or like he was just him. And he played the game, and maybe because Detroit didn't have that marketability like that, where they just kind of like Detroit wasn't really like a marketable team where they're like, yeah, they had Calvin Johnson, they had Matt Stafford, and that was it.
Yeah.
Like, you can't think of nobody else on that Detroit team when they played with each other. You'd be like, who else? I mean, Dre Bly. I mean, I don't even, you know, like you just think of small entity of players, and you'd be like, you know, I don't even know any really Detroit guys. You know, like the only person you could think about historical wise is Barry Sanders. You know, but they gotta give Calvin that money though. That's the reason why he retired.
Here you go. You got a question here. What was it like playing against Kaepernick? Because you kind of played against Kaepernick kind of at his peak. It was Seahawks versus 49ers in that time. And with one, I want to know, what was the preparation like kind of going into that game? Like what was going on in those meetings? What were being said about Kaepernick?
Bro, Kaepernick was the truth. Like, people keep forgetting, like, Kaepernick wasn't no scrub. Like, he was really, like, he was the Lamar Jackson of that era at that time. Like, they was running the RPO read option, bro. Like, he was pulling it. Like, he was really running it. He was a different run style than Lamar was. But my first time playing against Kaepernick, I was with the Jaguars. We played them in London. That was the first game that they started playing in London. And I remember we played against them. Like, that might have been one of the best times of my life playing in London, because it was lit, bro. Like, it was so many people. Like, we had pep rallies. Like, it was over 50, 60,000 people, like, preparation before the games. And when we got in London, like, that might have been I felt like it was a Super Bowl. I swear, like, how they had Wembley Stadium lit like that, like, it didn't even matter who was losing. Like, it was just so exciting. But 49ers whooped us, though. It was bad. Like, we went up there and we got our butts kicked, and it was like, it sucked, man. They did have a dude, you might have known, I can't remember his name. He was a receiver, but he played special teams, and he was a beast. He was like 6'4", 6'5" when he was playing with Kaepernick. He was a big dude. He was playing special teams, and he was good as hell. I can't think of his name, though. You might have to go back and look at that. Yes. Yo, he was good at special teams, bro. He was a dog. Like, he was really good. That's because I had played special teams that year when I was with Jaguars when we played against them. But Kaepernick was the truth, bro. Like, he had it lit out there for real.
Yeah, that's tight. That's tight. Well, man, Winston, I ain't gonna take up too much more of your time, man. I appreciate you coming on and answering all the questions from the people viewing it. You got 140 people in here, and I've been looking at the chat. They've been enjoying all your you know, the content and everything that you've been
You the
putting out there,
man, bro. Like you like from outside looking in, bro. When we first met out in Seattle, and I don't know how the hell we met each other. Like it was just random.
It was through
like,
Royce. It was through Royce. Remember we was over there at
bro.
Roy
Royce
Blue House.
Royce was a good dude. Like we just so seldomly met trying to play flag football. Like we wasn't even supposed to be doing that.
Hell
like,
no, we wasn't.
We wasn't even supposed to be doing that. Like we took a risk just having fun playing football. And
because I was with the Jets at this time, and you was with Seattle. Yeah,
bro. I was like, what? And then that's like how we met. And then like, I think I had met somebody close to you or something like that. And like that's kind of how like we just stayed in touch. And like I'm proud of you, bro, for real. Like what you got going on, and like the wave you doing and getting your own facility and stuff built up. I'm actually surprised you in Arkansas doing that. Like, I thought you would do that at the crib, but I can understand like the living expenses out in Cali, bro. Just financial wise, that's tough. Like, and that's a different type of place. You know, technology and stuff is different and it's all you found exactly what you're doing, bro. Like the wave that you're doing, like you in your own lane, like you got a lot of people that follow you. You got a lot of people that respect you. You know, you're doing a lot for the community, even just, you know, talking about your hometown team and things like that. And I think the 49ers got a bright future with Trey Lance, for real. I think, you know, he's going to be somebody, you know, he might be the next Patrick Mahomes, bro. Like, you just never know. And it's all about coaching. You know what I'm saying? Like, hopefully Kyle Shanahan can do his job. You feel me? Like I would hate that. I'm just saying, because like when you look at Trey Lance, like this guy got so much talent, and like you can't teach that. And it's just about coaching and putting him in the right position for him to be successful. But he's like the youngest quarterback in the league. I think he's like the youngest player in the whole entire NFL. So you got time to develop him into what he can be. And just learning the game, bro. By next year, he's gonna be all right. I think by next year, he get that first year on his belt, and he get to understand how defenses and stuff work. He's raw. Like there's a big difference. Like they took a big step on drafting him because coming from South Dakota State, they don't play nobody. So when you come into the league, we're talking about players from all over the entire country. And mostly players that are dominating the NFL is SEC. That's the reason why they got Oklahoma and Missouri and all the Texas now about to be in the SEC in a couple of years. That's going to be big time for just sports in general. So that's going to put a lot of competition, bro. Like speed kills. That's the number one thing they're going to tell you, and it's always going to hold to its true to its form. Speed kills. And that's the most. Once you be able to slow the game down and let that talent work, I think he's gonna be all right. I hope.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's your hometown team, bro. Like, I don't know what other coach is gonna be able to, you know, fix that. But, you know, Kyle Shanahan, I think he's a good coach, bro. Shit, I mean, if he can make Matt Ryan look like an MVP when he was in Atlanta, somebody like him, bro, he should make Trey Lance, you know what I'm saying? Like, he should be good in these next couple of years, for real. That's going to be a nice division with Kyler Murray and all them boys, bro. That's going to be a nice little division because ain't no telling how long Russell Wilson's going to be up there in Seattle. You know, they keep throwing his name out there with trade loops, and eventually he's going to start to feel some type of way, and he's going to want to feel wanted somewhere. Like, man, like, I've been in this league.
You think he might get up out of there? What was he like? Hold on real quick, because I said I was getting you out of here, but what was Russell Wilson like? Because on the outside looking in, and me, just kind of how I am and my mentality is like, I know it's not staged. He remind me of my Uncle Justice. And my Uncle Justice, he's just like a little nerdy, like a little corny. And that's how Russell Wilson kind of comes off. But it's like, you know, it works for him. Like people were showing the video of him doing the imaginary huddle. I don't know if you saw that. He was, you know, he got the splint on his hand, so he can't play right now. So before the game, he was going through like basically like doing a walkthrough by himself. And even in the imaginary huddle, like he's on the knee, calling out the play, looking at everybody. There ain't nobody in the huddle though. It's just him. And then he claps his hand, breaks the huddle, goes, runs the play. And it's like people made fun of it and they're like, well, maybe it's for the cameras, but I'm like, I think that's really just him.
That look, one thing about Russ is that's just him. Like he made himself to be that way. And I would say this, you know, I don't want to be personal, but when things happen in Seattle and that whole Seattle thing, that stuff happened, and then like all this, you know, the stuff, the rumors and stuff, when his whole life changed and he started to approach things different, he got in a different upper echelon of people. So you gotta think, with him being married to Sierra, he had a chance to be around different people's mindsets. It wasn't just about sports. I mean, like he had a chance to meet the Jay-Z's of the world, like billionaires, like people that actually put hard work into their craft. So in people's minds, they're like, oh, that looks corny, like, oh, but in his mind, he's like, he got Mamba mentality. He's like, if I can't play, I'm going to go through what I normally go through on a day-to-day basis, whether it's the game or practice, so I can get what do they, and you can vouch for me, what's the main thing they tell you in the league when you're not able to practice? You got to get what?
Mental reps.
That's exactly what he did. That was a full workout for him to do before the game, so he can put himself in a position where, like, now I know I'm not playing, but I'm going to go through my normal day-to-day routine. That's not corny. That's just him being a football player. Anybody would do that.
Right.
Well, people that want to be great, is the difference. Some people just, you know, when you hurt, you know what happens. You go in early, you do your hour workout before everybody even get there, and you do your training regimen before you even get there. That was what he did. He got there an hour or two early before the game. He did his, you know, non-injury workout. He did his routine and stuff, and that's what he did. And they, you know, he's the quarterback. He's the face of the franchise. Why wouldn't they show that? That gives people like me, that gives people like you, being a sports blogger, opportunities to talk about that. And you're going to want fans to be like, hey, Eric, like, what you think about this? Like, I thought that was kind of corny, but then in fans' minds, people that probably ain't never played football might feel like that. But us as former players, we're like, yo, that's mental reps. Like, there ain't no better way to get that than just that, because we're not playing. So we're going to be sitting on the sideline for 3.5, 4 hours watching the whole entire game, not playing. I got to be into it.
Right.
Feel me?
Yeah.
So that's just him, bro. That's just being like, he's going to go down as one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play. He's going to go down as the greatest quarterback ever in Seattle history. And he's going to be one of the best quarterbacks ever to play in the NFL. So, I mean, what more else do you want for him to do? I mean, he wants to win another Super Bowl, but it's going to be tough in that division, bro. With Kyler Murray, like, he's emerged as MVP race right now. And, you know, who knows how Russell's going to be if he ever comes back this year, and then what they're going to say talking about next year. Like, you know, are they going to trade him for some draft picks, or, like, you know, there's a lot of teams that can actually use somebody like Russell Wilson. Like, just imagine plugging him in, like, with the Steelers or something like that, bro. Like, just that scheme, you know, with the talent. I mean, he has the talent. I think he has the team. Like, the defense might be different, but as far as the team, like, you got Metcalf, you know, you got
Lockett.
What's his name? Lockett. You know, Chris Carson is tough, bro. He's been hurt for these past couple of years. So, like, you know, they might need to find, you know, they spent the first round pick on Rashad Penny a couple of years. That never panned out. Like, you know, so, I mean, they have the talent, I think, just to compete, especially in that division. It's all about the division. If you win the division, you're going to the playoffs. But then they got that new playoff thing where you get like an extra wild card teams and stuff like that.
Yeah, they got 7 teams.
You know, they're trying to make it more competitive. You know what I'm saying? But then that's a more high risk of injury, because by the time you get to that end of the year, your body's tore up, bro. Like, I don't know how these people be playing, but for real. And people be shooting up with the Toradol shot just to play a game. And you don't understand how much that affects your body. But, you know, I guess it's part of the game. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend it for players for real. Cause how I feel, I don't know how you feel, E, but how I feel at 31, dog. I gotta stay in the gym, bro. I gotta stay efficient working out because every morning I wake up, bro. I got problems, bro. We've been playing football our whole life.
Yeah.
Who don't got back problems? Why my knee ain't sore? I got all type of issues, bro. Like this is a day to day. This is a day to day thing that I have to deal with, and I only played 5 years, 4 accredited seasons in the league, and just imagine playing 10 to 15 to 20 years. Like how your body gonna feel at 38 or 35 or 33? Like no amount of money is gonna take care of that. You're
Right.
never gonna feel the same. You never feel the same when you wake up in the morning, you go to sleep. Something's always going on. You
That's real.
feel me?
Man.
Like, but yeah,
Yeah.
man, I appreciate you, brother. Like, we gonna have to do this again sometime, bro. Like, I appreciate that, man. I gotta get my YouTube cracking, man. Like, you got this thing rolling.
Oh yeah, just let me know. I got you, and I'll give you the shout out and everything.
Yes, sir, man. I appreciate you, bro. Much love and respect to your platform, man. Like, man, much love, man. I wish you nothing but more success than you have right now, man. And man, keep it rolling, bro. Like you always gonna be in my corner, bro. And I always appreciate you as a brother.
All right, love you, bro. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir, man.
All right, y'all. That was my guy, Winston Guy. Again, played in NFL, and I wanted him to come on and give a different perspective, a different side, and maybe even I can't even give. And I think he did that. Looking at the comments, it looks like you guys really enjoyed that, and y'all enjoyed listening to him and kind of the process of just really playing in the NFL, playing the game of football, the ins and outs of it. And I was hoping that he would kind of bring that fire, and I was pretty sure that he would. All right. I did have a question. Somebody asked me how I got to Arkansas, or why am I in Arkansas, and I'll touch on that. But real quick, before I do, make sure you guys, if you haven't already, hit that like button right now. All right, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Underdog Fantasy, make sure if you haven't already, download the app. When you deposit $10 and you use the promo code Crocky, they'll throw an additional $10 into your account. And it says it's a fantasy app, but also they got over and under stuff, player props, all kind of things you can put wagers on. You can parlay it, make you some money. All right. So Underdog Fantasy, promo code Crocky, they'll throw an additional $10 into your account. Make sure you guys do that right now. All right, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Man, I got a question. And now, I talked a little bit about, let me see, where's it at? Hold on. Where's it at? I saw it. Where is it at? Where is it at? I believe it was from Rich. But I touched a little bit on the mental health of my wife, right? And I talked about how my wife, and sorry, I'm kind of stumbling because I'm looking through for the question. I can't find it, but pretty much someone asked, Croc, how you end up in Arkansas? All right, hit the like, Lincoln High. Okay, Lincoln High School in the house. That's what's up. Somebody asked me how I ended up in Arkansas. All right, now this is the cold truth and reality of life. All right, and this is how I ended up in Arkansas. And I always talk about kind of my thought process on things. It is what it is, and that you have to pivot and things like that. So how I ended up in Arkansas, man, I talked about my wife's kind of mental health and how, she was going through a really tough time, and it was really bad. And I talked about how I didn't truly know how to help, right? Because I don't go through those things. With everything that I've dealt with in life, like I'm really like just a happy person. I'm always a happy person. And I've never had to deal with the, like depression and anxiety and things like that. But my wife has. And it got to a point where it was really bad. And I had to figure out a way to, help take some weight off of her shoulders and the things that she was doing. All right. So you have my wife. Yeah. So you have me. I work at an elementary school. I train athletes. I coach, and I'm doing all these things nonstop around the clock. Yeah. My wife, who works a full-time job. At this time, she was an LVN. Obviously, right now she's in the LVN to RN program. But my wife was an LVN, so a nurse. And she worked her full-time job. She also was in school, taking several classes, knocking out her prereqs so she can get into the RN program. And then she also a full-time mom on top of that, which is really like a whole nother job. And then getting the kids to all their different sports and things like that. And that's really working like nonstop around the clock. And on paper, it was like, wow, we're making good money. But in person, it was like, damn, we're making X amount of dollars. Where the hell is all that? Right. And it was a really stressful time for her trying to really manage everything. And at one point, she just broke. Boom. She just broke. And I had to figure out what's going to be the best way for me to be able to take care of my wife mentally, as well as, help her, get through nursing school and stuff like that. Because I know once she starts nursing school, she can't work. So I made a call to my university, and I wanted to finish getting my degree so I can start teaching. And I made a call to my university and was like, hey, I want to finish my degree. Can you? And I had a little bit less than a year left to get my degree. I was like, can I come and be a student assistant? Right? I'm not asking for money. Can I just be a student assistant on the coaching staff, which basically I'd be a coach. I could be a position coach or whatever, but I wouldn't be technically a hired coach at the university. I would just be a student assistant. And while I do that, my wife is going to enter the nursing program, which it's actually one of the best nursing programs in this entire region. Right. So, and where it's cheaper in Arkansas, it's cheaper at the university as opposed to being in California. It would be much more affordable for us to be here for a year or two and then go back to California. That was the plan. That was the goal. And my coach was like, awesome, great. Of course, we would love to have you, Croc. And I'm looking at it like, well, of course you would love to have me. I was the team captain at the university. I left there. It's the same head coach. I'm on their little wall with the other players that have played professionally. Again, team captain, all that good stuff. I was all conference. I was a good dude when I played there. And I went off and I played professional football. And then because of my reach and my platform on social media, it would make sense to have somebody like me on the staff, right? Well, I guess not, because originally that was the case. Yes, I'm going to come on. I'm going to do those things. I moved my family out here. My wife, my kids, we moved out here. And when I got out here, it was not what I expected. I was feeling that prior to moving out here. And I remember calling one of my other coaches that was on the staff when I went here. And I was like, hey, man, and I asked a little question. And he's like, look, Croc, whatever's going on, even if you go out there and you're not coaching, it doesn't matter. You have to go regardless, because your wife needs that degree, that RN, get her RN from that university, because it's a great opportunity for her. He was like, my wife did the same thing and she's good anywhere we go. My guy, he's coaching all over. And I'm like, all right, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to go regardless if they're acting funny at the university or whatever. And I went and I made myself available. And it was just like, I don't know, it was really a weird dynamic. And it never made sense to me. Still doesn't make sense. And there are other reasons why I won't get into too much of that, but it never truly made sense to me as to why I wasn't on a student assistant on that staff and coaching at the university. But anyways, that was how we got to Arkansas. Now, since then, it was crazy because it was so much cheaper. A lot of things made it to where I could put more effort into my streaming and my training athletes. And once I got here, I came here with the mindset of coming, get my degree. My wife finished up the RN program. We head back to Cali. I started training athletes, and I realized, dude, there's no other sports performance trainers in this area. There's an opportunity for me here. So I got into that. I'm training the athletes. Next thing you know, talks about a big gym that we're putting together. And I'm looking and I'm talking to the lady at the business department. She's like, look, this is how much money you're making from training right now. These are your projections, but you'll be in the red because the building is going to cost this much. So you'll be in the red. So I had to figure out, all right, how am I going to make up the difference? So I started going hard on my streaming with Patreon. I started up a YouTube channel. One thing led to another, and I ended up getting on Locked On 49ers, then Locked On NFL Draft. Then I have partnerships, Underdog Fantasy, which I'm making good money off Underdog Fantasy. Just partnered up with Lines Sports. All right, there's Lines on Twitter, @Lines_sports on Instagram. Just partnered up with them. And I had a goal of, all right, I want to make $10,000 a month off streaming, right? And I made that goal. Once I found out how much it was going to cost for me to have the gym, I was like, all right, I need to be able to make enough money to be able to take care of the gym, train the athletes, and really not take anything away from that, as well as be able to take care of my family and all that, pay all the bills, because I pay all the bills. My wife's in nursing school. So, I made a goal to make $10,000 a month off streaming, and I just started going harder on that, and obviously get my YouTube stuff. And I'm in a position now where, the house I live in, the property I'm on, where the building facility basically right outside my window that I'm looking at right now, 12,000 square foot facility. It doesn't make any sense for me to ever go back to California. But I say all that to say sometimes we block our blessings, right? Sometimes we have these opportunities that kind of, I don't want to say fall in our lap, but God is trying to guide you somewhere, and sometimes we don't do it. It would have been easy for me to just stay in Stockton, California, but and kind of, I listened to this guy Andy Frisella, and Andy Frisella, he basically has a podcast for entrepreneurs, right? He kind of drills that mindset into you and kind of what it takes. And one thing he said was, and I want you guys to listen to this, man. One thing he said was, we as people, we value our current circumstances too much. And we value our current circumstances thinking that it can't get better, when a lot of times it can and will. But you don't block your own blessing. And I think a lot of times we're not willing to take those chances, or we're not willing to take those opportunities to see what's on the other side. And within doing that, sometimes there are uncomfortable moments. It was uncomfortable for me moving from California to Arkansas. But the blessings that I've gotten out of it, man, like, I mean, I can't even explain it. So I have a lot going on right now, a lot that's coming out. You guys will see my gym coming out. Should be up soon, I'd say in the next couple months. My streaming stuff. Again, I've talked about the changing of this channel. I do everything. Like, okay, this makes sense. Let me try this. Let me try that. Everything with me is trial and error. Changing this to a media platform, basically a network. I'm gonna try to get other people on my network, but the merchandise coming out, the gym, the media, like, I'm just figuring it out, man. I'm figuring it out. So yeah, I mean, I appreciate everybody that just kind of listened to me go on this rant a little bit. Make sure, if you haven't already, hit that like button. All right, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Here we go. Damn, salute to you, Croc. I'm a Cali guy and black. I couldn't deal with the racism with the white people out there. I heard his parts as bad as. All right, so I don't know about Joe. I ain't never been to jail here, but I'll say this. I do think as Californians and people from California or the West Coast, we look at the South a certain way. My way of thinking and the way I go about things in my life is I only go off of, and I'm not saying I don't listen to other things that go on outside, right? I mean, I see things or whatever, but I don't judge people, right? If I come in contact with you, I don't judge you based on what other people say you are or what they feel like you might be. I judge you off of my personal interactions with you. So I'll say this. Since coming to Arkansas, all right, I'm in the South, in the dirty South, right? Like, this ain't like Texas. Like, I'm in the dirty South, in Southeast Arkansas, next to Mississippi, next to Louisiana, not far from Georgia, Alabama, all that. I'm actually a few hours drive from University of Alabama, Tuscaloosa, all right? These white people have treated me better than I've ever been treated in my life. So I get it. People say that the South racist, whatever, and maybe, but the interactions that I've personally had have been amazing. And it's crazy. Well, not when it's crazy, but they are white folks. I have the gym going up right now. Like, it wouldn't, that gym, 12,000 square foot gym, it would not be possible if it weren't for a white man who wants nothing from it. Wants nothing from it. Nothing. He's just a good man. And he sees what I'm doing. And he basically wanted to invest in that. And he loves it for the community and everything. And doesn't want anything from it. Nothing. Doesn't want anything from it. So I think sometimes when we go in it with this mindset of, well, I couldn't deal with the racism, I'm here to tell you, and again, I'm in the dirty South, and I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. But if I would have kind of came into this situation with that mindset, I would have blocked a big time blessing. You know what I'm saying? So, and I've heard like shoots. They got I see somebody said the KKK run deep out there. I've seen this video of somewhere up north, in a northern part of Arkansas, where they have like the KKK capital or something like that, right? I've never come across that. But all I can do, again, I don't want to, same thing with my kids. I never want them to go into a situation thinking of all the worst that can happen, right? Well, if I do, well, this might happen. It's like, man, like, you'll figure it out. Go into a situation, have an open mind about things, have an open heart about things, and, like, see what your experience is with that. And I'm not saying that some of the things that y'all are worried about aren't things that go on. I know they are things that go on. I'm saying my personal interactions with the people that I've come across that have been here, that white people, whatever it is, they have been amazing. Amazing. So, yeah, I go into everything with an open heart, open mind. I go into conversations about football with an open mind. I never go into a situation feeling like I know everything or, I think that's why y'all rock with me. Now, you shouldn't say you don't see color. You should see color. Our differences are beautiful. I agree. Media is the number one. Media is enemy number one. All they do is divide. I agree. They do a lot of that. And it's hard. I stay away from, some of those media outlets and stuff like that. I try to stick to sports. I see racism every day in Cali. Every time I go. You're going to deal with things like that wherever you go, man. But again, I don't go into it. I love everybody. And I truly mean it. Like, I truly love everybody. But man, white folks in the South can cook better than some of the black folks out west. I appreciate everybody that's been tuned in, locked in. My guy Winston Guy. I hope you guys liked the conversation while he was on. Man, I appreciate all y'all. I think I'll probably come on Sunday at some point, talk a little bit about the 49ers a little bit. We'll see. But any last things y'all want to talk about? All right, look, this is what we're going to do. Real quick. And make sure if you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. This is my platform. I can do whatever the hell I want with this platform. All right. I want y'all to come on. And I don't want to talk about football. I don't want to talk about 49ers. I want somebody to come on and talk about like a life experience, good or bad, something that you're going through, whether it's a business standpoint, maybe you want some advice. Maybe I can give you advice. I don't know. But I want somebody to come on. Again, it's tough to get on here in front of people, get on the mic and talk. But I want to have that open conversation. We'll do this for about 10 minutes. All right. So unless I don't get anybody on. But I want somebody to come on and let's just talk. And you can ask me questions about like the what I'm trying to, learn from a business standpoint, things like that. And maybe if you have advice for me from a business standpoint, different things I got going on. The clothing coming soon, man. Y'all better support. It'll be frontline merchandise. But I want y'all to come on and I want to talk about, like, let's talk about life for a second. Because again, we talk about sports, we talk about football, we always talk about that. And like the shit's a game. You know what I'm saying? But I want to talk about, like, let's get personal a little bit. Let's get a little personal. All right. So first guy up, let's go with Matt first. Here we go. Matt, what's good, man? How you doing?
Man, I'm doing good, man. Good morning, man. Crackman, what's up with you, bro, man? I see you out there getting it.
Oh, man, I'm chilling, man. I'm chilling. So I want to know, so where are you from, Matt? Where you from?
Well, originally, like I was born in San Francisco, but I moved to Georgia when I was like 7 years old.
Yeah.
And so after I moved to Georgia, I ended up growing up in Georgia from 7 all the way to like 17. And then my mom passed away After my mom passed away, I moved back to California, but I moved to San Jose. I moved to San
Yeah.
Jose, lived in San Jose in Sacramento for like 2-3 years. First, I moved to Stockton actually, but my grandma
Hey.
had to get me out of Stockton because it was just so crazy out there and dangerous. This was like around 2013, 14.
Ooh, it
And
was going
so,
crazy during that time. Yeah.
yeah, man.
2012,
So
13, like, yeah, they was tripping.
right. So I moved to Stockton, and then I was in Stockton and Sacramento because I mean I was born in the Bay, but I never really lived in the Bay. I mean not the I lived in South Bay and then Stockton and Sacramento. I never like really lived in Oakland and San Francisco, but I was born out there, and like all my family's from there. They all Raider and Niner fans and shit. And then
Yeah.
I ended up moving up here to Cleveland, Ohio, like 5 years ago because this is where I got other family out here. Because after my mom passed away, I was just moving with like different family members around, and we have a lot of family that's originally from Ohio, and so I ended up moving out here, and I've been out here since, bro. Like, and like I tell you, like it's like I don't deal with none of that like racism, like none of that bullshit. Like as long as you like, I don't judge people based off that. Like as long as you carry yourself as a man with respect, bro. Like you don't have to worry about that shit. Like that's how I look at it
Yeah.
though. Like
Yeah.
because
Well, a
like
lot of it is kind of, and I feel big about treating people how you want to be treated. So typically, I don't want to say I go out of my way to like be like hella like outgoing or anything like that. But I just when I see you, I speak to you with respect instead of maybe judging you based on how you look or what your skin color is or whatever the case is. And I think there are some people that go into it thinking like, well, this person sees me a certain way, so they don't like me. I think sometimes that kind of it could be your own. You could be your own worst enemy sometimes with that.
right, exactly. With that type of thinking, man. Like, and I could tell, man, you the way you articulate yourself, like you real thoughtful. You don't judge people. You know what I'm saying? And just the fact that you always want to come on here and say something positive about the team instead of just going into the negatives, knowing that the reality situation we're going through a negative time.
Right.
So, but you want to talk about more of the positive things. So, like, I appreciate that. And like I said, I
And
appreciate
no,
you
hold
letting
on.
me come on and,
I
and
do want
speak
to
too.
talk about the negative. I mean, not that I want to talk about the negative. I know the negative is going to come out organically, right? Like that's just going to happen. People are going to come out and talk about the things that they don't like. So I know that that's coming. So that's why I say, hey, let's come out and say something positive because I know the negative is coming, but I want to try to get a little bit of good vibes. So that's what that is.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what's up, man. But yeah, man, I'm originally from Cali, man. I love the Niners, love the Sharks, love the Lakers. I wasn't because I grew up loving Kobe. That was my
Yeah.
favorite player, So I grew up liking the Lakers, even though all my family was Golden State Warrior fans. So, and then had my dad was a Raider fan, and my mom was a Niner fan. I took up after my mom, so that's why I ended up being a Niners. So, well,
Yeah.
I got Raider family, all that. We always talk trash to each other and go back forth and everything. It's good to just talk to other people from the state of Cali. Sometimes I can relate to too that they know what I'm talking about, and I'm like talk about certain things. Like man, when I was talking about Folsom and Sacramento, like they don't be knowing what I'm talking about. Like out here sometimes, and I gotta break it down to them. Like yeah, I was born out there, originally from there. I just moved out here to Cleveland when I got older, but I motherfucking grew up in Georgia. But
Yeah.
so yeah, but I mean I still know a lot about like the Bay Area and more so just like how you say we like Sacramento, Stockton, that area. I moved out
Yeah.
there when I was like 17. I graduated out there. I went to Santa Clara Adult Ed actually. Santa Clara in San Jose. Well, that was in San Jose. Yeah, that was in Santa Clara. Yeah. But yeah,
Santa
man,
Clara,
shit.
San Jose, it's all the same.
That's just a little bit about me, bro. Like, what about you, man? Like, what school you end up going to out there?
So I'm from Stockton. I actually lived in San Jose for a little bit. I went to Cedar Grove Elementary out in San Jose on the east side. I
Okay.
actually went my freshman year of high school. I lived in Fresno. I went to Sunnyside High School. A lot of people don't know that, but my freshman year of high school, I went to Fresno. I lived in Fresno, went to Sunnyside. And I've kind of told there's an episode a little bit back. I need to maybe change the title because I went off and I told my whole story, like my whole path. And
No,
even
because the
to
way you
like
got
be
it
able,
set up, bro, like I can't we can't look at like you we have to go live we have to be on your live to see the videos that you be dropping on the Croc Talk TV because like I think it's I don't know, it's like I see the videos on the channel, but it'd be like the older videos. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
I don't
talking
know.
about?
I'll try to set it up to where we get the live streams going on. But Matt, man, I appreciate you
Okay.
coming on. I got like 4 other people in here, so I'm gonna get them on, man. I appreciate you coming on and kind of talking your story a little bit.
All right, bro, man. Take it easy, man. Have a good weekend, man. Have fun this weekend, man.
All right, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, make sure y'all hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, all that good stuff, man. We just talking on this good Friday morning right now. Next up, I got my guy Dion, I got Roscoe's, and then TL49er Magic coming on. Here we go. Dion, what's good, baby?
Hey, what's happening with you, Croc? Hey, man, that was dope having him on. You know, the funny thing is I'm such a football connoisseur. The minute you put him on, what I do, look his numbers up. You know the
Yeah.
crazy thing? He didn't play much, but when he did, he made an impact. He had a sack, he had a pass defense. Like the time when they gave him time, he made an impact. So I'm like,
Yeah.
give him a little more time. But then you know, you got dudes, you got certain players on the field, it's hard to get on there. But
Yeah.
from a business standpoint, man, I'll tell you this. I learned some free game, and I started learning business, I want to say in about 2003. And it all started with one simple question. I used to work at the grocery store, and people used to ask us for paper bags all the time. And we never had them. And I'm like, yo, dang, man, why you never got no dang paper bags? Something so simple, right? So when I asked about it, you know, I'm like, yo, man, we don't never have no paper bags. People be getting pissed off and getting yelled at all the time. Like, what is the deal? So my manager said, well, there's a reason for that. Let me tell you. So he started talking to me about the business of the grocery store, how money is spent, what you have to do, learning the checks and balances thing. And then as I got older, I just kept asking normal businessmen different things. Like when he was talking about how Russ was hanging around with, you know, cats like Jay-Z and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The one thing that I've learned from people is you want to be successful, surround yourself with successful people. You want to
Right.
make money, surround yourself with money. So the average person who starts a business doesn't typically start that business to own it for life, not the average person.
Right.
Most people who start businesses, you start it from the ground up. You do all that hard work, but you build it to sell it so you can make a profit off of it.
Yeah.
Continual businessmen in this world start a business. All right, cool. It's going to take me 2-3 million to start this business. Somebody comes along 5-10 years later. I've already recouped my 2-3 million and I'm making profits. I'm turning money around. Okay. Now I've got residual income. I can rest on my laurels a little bit because I know that this business is making me bread. And then somebody comes along and says, hey, man, I like your business. How about I give you 15 mil for it? I've already recouped the funds that I spent to go ahead and start this business. The business is very profitable. And you about to give me 15 mil? Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
I'll take that.
So I got a
You
question
see
for
what
you,
I'm saying?
Dion.
Yeah.
So you've been soaking up the game and
Mhm.
you seem to have a good grasp on it. So
Mhm.
what are you doing with your life to kind of utilize the information that you gained since 2003 and clearly with you kind of asking those questions and understanding it, like you're interested in it. Have you
Mhm.
thought about potentially starting your own business or anything like that?
I have, and my thing is I'm trying to work this YouTube thing. I'm growing slowly, but I'm growing gracefully. And the other thing is I like banking, and I'm currently in that. So I'm looking to try to, you know, I network well. I I can talk to you. I can talk to anybody. I can talk to anybody on the streets. When I talk to people, it's just simple. And I've learned one thing very simple in the world. I know some people have a hard time with this, and I get it. I completely understand it. Learn to just simply introduce yourself. If there's
Right.
one thing that I learned sitting in banks, when the big bosses come in, what does everybody do? They go, oh, we got to do our job. We got to get right. Oh, this got to be cleaned. I go, why? Why isn't that normally how you function? Why are you tripping?
Right.
These people are normal people. I walk up, hey, look, man, how you doing? My name is Dion. I do this, this, and this. Because at the end of the day, you know what? Without no me, there's no him. You have no VP position if I'm not doing this job right here. So you
Right.
have to understand your worth and be able to express to them people, hey, look, man, I want to do X, Y, and Z in this business. Right now, you know what I'm saying, where I'm at, I know several people that people are like, oh, you know them dude? Yeah, I know him, and I know him personally. I know this dude has 2 kids. I know that guy has 3 kids. I know this guy's from New York. I know this guy's from Cleveland. Like all these things. And it's just networking with the right people. So when those moments come up and you throw your hat in the ring for something, for a promotion or for whatever, you automatically have that. And it's simple as saying hello. I am
Somebody
so-and-so.
said, we got Julio here. He said, hey, bro, I think we found the first guy ever who likes banking. This is history.
Hey man, look, let me tell you something. There's a lot of game to be learned in it. And you got to remember at the end of the day, one thing that I learned from my grandfather is you want to have a skill in life that never goes away. My grandpa was a carpenter. You're going to always build houses all the time. Houses are consistently being built. Why? People need homes. Banking, people always need a bank. It's going to continually be there. You know what I'm saying? Being a mechanic is having that skill that's irreplaceable, and then having that worth about yourself. But yeah, man, that's what I'm working, man. I'm working on getting this, just trying to put this YouTube thing to a maximum, man, and bit by bit, I'm gonna get things right. And you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna start trying to put that to a thing because that's my passion. My passion is talking about sports in general. I like football, I like baseball, I like basketball. I seldomly watch hockey. I don't know much about it, but those 3 sports I like. And I can sit up there and talk about my teams all day. So those are the things that I'm looking to get in and get going. But yeah, man, I'm starting to work on that, and I'm going to start opening it up because right now I mainly stick to the Niners. But eventually I'm shooting over to my Bulls. I'm shooting over to the Dodgers. I'm shooting over to the Braves. So I'm going to do things in a different way and open that door, man, and get stuff right because that's what I want to do. I love sports broadcasting, man. When I look at Stephen A. and Max Kellerman and all these dudes, I'm like, I say all the same stuff they saying. The only difference is they're more PC about it because they got FCC restrictions, things of that nature. But it's in business and in life, it's learning how to communicate properly. And I used to tell people this all the time, man. There's a polite way to tell somebody to F off. You just gotta know how to do it, and you gotta be smart about it, and you gotta make sure it's not the wrong person. You have to have different tools in your tool bag to allow yourself to be able to coexist. Jay-Z said it best. I'll show you how to move in a room full of vultures. You need to learn how to move in a room full of vultures so you don't get ate. And at some point, you become that vulture. And it's not to say that you're a vulture to take away from people, but you're up there so high they give you that respect. And that's what it's about, people. You got to learn how to move in different circles in different places. And if you don't know how to do that, learn. Take your time out of your day and invest in yourself and invest in understanding other people and their walks of life. If you walk in with a predetermined notion about people all the time, you're going to wind up, messing yourself out of a lot of good things. I've always been able to talk to people and learn and understand things in a different way. What those people may say about me when I walk away, that doesn't matter. It's right there when you in my face. You're going to give me the respect that I deserve because I'm giving it to you. So I expect that in return. And if you do not, there's a polite way for me to tell you, you need to go ahead and bring it back down a notch. Respect me and I'll give it to you. Respect ain't given, it's earned. You know what I'm saying? But that is certain small things in business, man. And that's what you do. You pick the brains of the people that are around you that are successful and use those tools to create your own success. That's always how you do it, man. If you at your job and you become more inquisitive about things, your bosses respect you. They pull you more, man. I had my boss tell me one time when I was sitting there, because I work from home right now, but I was sitting there, man, I was chilling and it was slow. And he looked at me and said, Dion, I was like, yeah. He's like, want to come to a meeting? I'm like, sure. So I went in the meeting thinking this is going to be a regular meeting. These are all the big bosses on the floor. And they're sitting there and they're talking about things. And I'm giving my input and giving my feedback. And all of those dudes, before we left that room, looked at me and go, you really, most people would have just came in here and sat down and said nothing. I was like, but you need the input from us so you understand what we're going through. Right. If you don't get the input from the people on the floor, from the people that are really doing the job, then how are you able to help us? You know what I'm saying? It's just proper, I was like, it's just relaying the message properly. If you come in here belligerent, screaming and hollering, ain't nobody gonna want to listen to you. You have to know how to talk to people to get whatever it is that you want. And I know you got other people in here, man. So I'm gonna jump off. One thing I will say is, as far as what people are saying about the racism in the South, you only encounter it if you open that door. If you most people, if you're good about judging character, you can kind of get that vibe. I'll tell you this. I was in Atlanta, I want to say 2005, 2006. Long story short, I was walking down the street and there was a white lady coming towards me. I said hello. She said hello. There was a black man coming behind her. He was an older gentleman. And he looked at me and said, "Hey, brother, I need you to be careful out here." And I said, "Why?" And he said, we can't be talking to them white women like that. You got to step off the curb. And I looked at him and I said, "Sir, with all due respect, it's 2005. We don't have to do that no more." And it was so sad to see that man was still mentally stuck in that era where you had to step off the curb. Some people don't move past it. Me, I'm sorry, bro. I'm from California. We talk to every dang body, and people are going to be respectful to me as I'm respectful to them. And I'm not about to step off the curb just because you coming down the street. It's just more than enough room for both of us to walk. So it's just learning and understanding and growing, man. And you have to pick the brains of the people that are in those successful spots and just be cool with them, make friends with them. Another thing I learned from an interview tips, when you go into a person's office, look at their office, pay attention to the things. If somebody has a bunch of Wonder Woman figures all over the place, slide in a little conversation about Wonder Woman. Makes the interview so much easier. I had a job interview. A dude had a plaque from USC. I'm a UCLA fan. Jokingly told him, "I don't know if I'm gonna be able to take this job." He said, "Why?" I said, "You went to USC." And he goes, "Please don't tell me you're a Bruin fan." And we both just bust out laughing. That automatically, literally went from an interview to just a conversation about me being from UCLA, him liking USC, and I got the job. That's what I'm saying. It's small tools and tips.
Right.
Those are the ways you succeed in life. But I'll get off here and shut up, man. But appreciate you having me on, Croc. Nothing but peace and blessings to you, man. I'm gonna continue to grind and do my thing, man, and do whatever I need to do. And if you start a network, man, I'll let you, boy. I am
It's
all
coming.
game
It's coming.
for doing whatever it is. Y'all have a wonderful day, people. Please take whatever I told you today and use it to your to your game and continue to grind out there, man. Don't let nothing stop you.
Yes, sir. All right, appreciate you coming on. Good advice from Dion there, man. Love to get that insight. We got two more guys on. I'm gonna go with here we go. We got TL49 Magic. Then I'm gonna end with my guy, Mr. Roscoe. So all right. Yo, how you doing, man?
Hey, what's up, bro? How you doing?
Oh man, I'm chilling.
Good. Yeah, that's cool, man. So you said you went to Fresno. You said you went to Sunnyside?
Yeah, I went to Sunnyside
Oh,
High.
okay.
Yep.
That's crazy, man. So I'm from Fresno too, but I'm a little older than you. But we didn't get to play football against each other. But I went to Clovis West.
Yeah, and Sunnyside it was newer.
It was. Yeah, it's one of the newer
Yeah.
schools there. But now there's a bunch of them. Now, remember we had just Clovis High and Clovis West. Now you got Clovis East, Clovis North. There's a bunch of them now. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, Edison was always the one who ran things, though. You know what I'm
Yeah, they
saying?
ran
But
us too.
did they? Yeah, they ran things. But yeah, man. So yeah, I'm kind of where you're at as far as the racism and stuff like that. Because I'm a 41-year-old dude, and I guess you can say I've been blessed because I've never really experienced any racism, at least not to my face.
Right.
My dad, growing up, my dad was in and out of prison and stuff, but he never really taught me stuff. But what he did give me some words of advice. He was always just like, you know what, be able to make yourself marketable, kind of like what Dion was saying. He was just like, you need to know how to talk to an old white man in his 60s and a young black dude in his 30s, the age, whatever the case may be. You need to be able to make yourself be available to talk about anything and everything. So when it comes to me, I can talk to people about sports. I can talk to people about politics, whatever the case may be. Just so, kind of like what Dion was saying, you have to be able to introduce yourself and know, like, okay, know your audience, basically. You know what I'm saying? So I had joined the military in '99 as a 19-year-old kid coming from California. I go to Chicago for boot camp, and I was living in after boot camp. I went down to Meridian, Mississippi. Population was maybe 30,000 people. All the white folks there was cool. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and that's still kind of a bigger town in the
it
South.
is. It really is. Yeah,
30,000,
it was. Yeah, it was like about 30,000 people. It was about an hour south of Jackson. So, we would sit there, go out in town and stuff. And, I had this white friend, it was a female. We went to the mall, and then she was like, I'm gonna stop in Victoria's Secret real quick. I'm like, okay, cool. I was like, I'll wait out here. Had these 3 black dudes approach me. I was like, what are you doing talking to that white devil? And I'm just like, excuse me? Like I said, I'm from California. We talk to everybody. Like Dion was saying, it's like, we don't see, we talk to everybody. He was just like, you need to watch yourself around here, man. This and that. And, I'm just like, well, look, man, with all due respect, I just don't understand your mindset. Like, I'm cool with everybody. This and that. And he was like, and where are you from again? I was like, California. He's like, you sound white and, you sound educated. And I'm just like, look, man, so that's why I made that's why I made the comment in the chat. I'm just like, I've never really experienced any racism. The racism I've experienced was from people who were black, telling me I talk white and, you're an Oreo, whatever the case may be, but not knowing, like, I'm about that action too. Like, you think I'm soft, but I'm not. But anyway, so yeah, I can get where people are coming from. But yeah, but I 100% agree with you, Croc. It all depends on you and how you deal with yourself. As long as you're articulate and you know how to, I've been stopped by white cops, and they let me go. Oh, you're free to go, man. Go ahead. So it just depends on you, man. Depends on how you talk. And so I don't agree with the racism thing, but yeah, as far as, in life, a lot of people don't like what I do. You either hate me or you love me in my job. I work in the HOA field. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Homeowners Association. Yeah. So that's what I do. I'm a community manager. So people either love me or they hate me. They cuss me out.
They probably hate you, man. Y'all be threatening to tow people's cars if it's on the side of the street too long.
Oh, for sure. And it's like, and people are funny too. It's like, I don't do it to pick on you. You bought into an HOA. You need to follow the rules, man. So, but yeah, so people, I get into arguments almost every day. But then at the same time, when people call me and they start cussing me out, and I usually end up calming them down by the end of the conversation. I'm like, look, man, read your CCNRs, read your documents. It says X, Y, and Z. And I think as long as you understand who you're dealing with and how to talk to people, everything is all good. So yeah, I've been blessed when it come to that stuff, man. So yeah. What you're thinking on that? Like I said, I heard you earlier before I called, and you were like, "Yeah, you dealing with the the white people down there in Arkansas, and you show nothing but love." And I felt the same way when I was in Mississippi, and then same thing when I went to Virginia. I was stationed in Virginia for a while, and there was a lot of white people.
I think if you're looking for racism, you'll find it. That's what I think.
I agree.
Well, I mean, what's funny? You like you said, you came into contact with it being your own people. You know what I'm saying? And how they approach you. But I think that's the wrong way to approach it. I think if you are looking for the worst in people, it's almost like a female going through a phone, right? Like they know, like, man, shouldn't be going through this dude's phone, but I'm gonna go through it anyways. And then you go through it and you end up finding something. I think if you're really trying to look for it, then eventually you will find what you're looking for. I think the way that I've approached things out here isn't so much that I don't think racism exists, because I think it does.
It definitely does.
But, I go into every situation giving people the benefit of the doubt, and so far that method for me has worked, and I've come across some really good people that have showed nothing but love. But I do know that there are other sides of it that,
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I don't want people to get that twisted. Racism does exist. I'm just saying I've never had to deal with it. And like I said, the way I've handled myself and the way my dad taught me, like, look, you need to, be articulate, be able to, use all your syllables, whatever the case may be. But I will tell you this before I go off. So my bunkmate when I was in boot camp. He was a white dude from Kansas. His name was Kendall. I never forget. And he was kind of standoffish at first. And I'm like, hey, what's going on, man? But being in the military and stuff, you got to work as a team, so you need to get over that. Whether if you're racist, you need to get over that or hide it as best as you can, because it's not gonna fly. So he was just like, yeah, man. He was like, I just felt kind of awkward at first. He was just like, I never really came encounter with a black man. I'm like, oh, really? He was just like, yeah. He goes, it sucks because, but he was cool though. He let me know this. He was like, it sucks because only black people I've really seen was either athletes, or when I watch TV, I always see black people, like whether what, like when he said, because the movies he watches, like whether it was Boys in the Hood, whatever the case may be, every movie he saw with black people was always as being thugs. So a lot of people outside of blacks would think like, oh, all I see black people on TV doing is gang banging, selling dope. So that's the kind of persona they had of us. But then once he got to know me, he was like, man, it's cool to see that not all black people are like that. You know what I'm saying? So as long as you come in with the open mind and you get to see people for who you are, because all white people ain't the same, all blacks ain't the same, and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. All right, Croc. Well, good talking to you, bro.
All right, man. I appreciate you.
I'll let you get to your next caller. Yes, sir. Appreciate that.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Dominic, you're right. I worded that wrong when I said that if you go looking for it, you'll find it, and if you don't, you won't find it. Like, now there are times where it will kind of find you for various reasons. And me and my brother, I remember us going to this party, and I don't even think this is a good example. That's not a good example. I'm gonna leave that one out. But yeah, I mean, it can. But most people that are racist aren't openly like, they're not just gonna see you and be like, yeah, you nigger. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're not just gonna come out and say, like, they're like, if they're provoked to a certain extent, then I think that side of them might come out. But and that kind of goes both ways, like he said. I mean, it could be your own people that'll come at you and say things because they don't believe shoes. I got made fun of in college because we would mess with white girls. Me, my boy Malik, my boy DJ, we mess with whatever, all the girls, right? And some of my teammates who were from the South, they didn't quite understand that. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, we kind of got, I don't want to say make fun of, because I mean it's like we getting cheeks, what you talking about? But yeah, just want to say thanks for hipping me to the waffles, man. So watching from Central Georgia, that's what's up. So did you get the great value ones? I'm telling you, man, the great values, they're better than Eggos. And Eggos have the, they got the name and all that, but I'm telling you, the great value waffles, better than Eggos, man. I promise. I appreciate the contribution. All right, last guy, then we'll get you guys out of here, get you guys started for your weekend. My guy, Chris Roscoe's. What up, Chris?
What's up, Croc? How's everything going, man?
Oh man, I'm chilling, man. I'm ready to start this weekend. I got all the podcasts out the way, so it's good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was listening to a couple of callers talk about the whole racism thing and everything, and I was just like, "Oh Lord."
Yeah.
So okay. So
Oh, somebody said my video might get deleted because I said the hard ER.
Yeah, I was like, Croc, don't say that.
But I mean, but I meant like,
No, I know what you, completely know. I completely know what you meant. But yeah, one of the reasons why I called, yeah, definitely. I'm glad you corrected yourself on that right before I called, because I definitely disagree when folks say, well, yeah, if you don't go looking for racism, it's not going to show up. That's a complete lie from the pit of hell.
But it's not as, how can I say it? Like, I think in this situation, what I mean? Yeah.
No. Yeah, I completely understand. But it will find you regardless. Where I live, we talk. So I told you where I live and everything. I was oblivious. I started becoming oblivious to what was going out. I mean, I knew what was going on in the world, but I was oblivious to what was happening around me. And so I am conscious, but I mean, I wasn't looking for it, because everything around me was just chilling. I was like, oh man, I love it out here. People are nice. And I mean, when everything went off in last year during the protests and everything, it came straight to our face. Literally decided to go to a protest and it was just like a very peaceful. It was like maybe 20 of us. I didn't think, I was like, okay, yeah, we're just gonna stand in solidarity with everybody around the world. And you had a group of 10, 15 dudes show up, start throwing up, what is it, Nazi signs, and
Oh
making
no.
all these different types of gestures, and it was flat out right in our face. And I was like, oh snap. And so yeah, I mean, I don't like when people say, yeah, if you are not looking for it, or if you're not, expecting the worst out of people, it won't. It may not happen. No, look, it's gonna happen, and you have to be conscious of where of the times we're in. You have to be at least aware, because when it happens to you, when you least expect it, then you're gonna be like, you may freeze up, or something, you may not know how to respond to it. So always be on your toes. It don't matter how you talk. If you articulate yourself, racism won't happen. None of that. I don't want to hear none of that. I don't want to hear people who never experienced racism speak about racism, because then they don't know. So like the last caller, he was, I've never experienced racism, so if you just don't do this and you don't do that, you'll be good. Bro, like I've experienced it all. I've did my own thing, not bothered anybody. Police come. I went into a store. Me and the lady are cool. I buy stuff. Somebody else come in, be like, hey, are you gonna be okay with him, in the store alone? Like these are the different things we go through. And I think what you was touching on too is, yes, racism has gone from being a lot less overt, and it's a lot more covert now.
Yeah.
Overt it's in your face. Covert, it's all, it's almost a lot of indirect.
Yeah.
It's how when they hire you, or when they won't hire you because the way you look, or the way somebody may say something. Now you may not understand it. You be like, oh, okay, cool. They said it because it is. But then you educated. I mean, like, I got my minor in Pan African Studies. I've learned some of this stuff. So certain people say certain things. You like, that don't sit right with me. And you think about it, and
Right.
like, oh, and you think about it, like, okay, I know what they meant, but so, and racism now is systemic. It's in our schools. It's in laws. So, this is how the country has been made up. So yeah, they don't have to be overt anymore. They can be covert. They can do things to manipulate the system for them and not for us. I think one of the things, but again, you can overcome it. We don't have to. This is the thing I think, people should have said, is you don't have to focus on it 24/7. You can overcome it. You could do whatever you want to do in this country. You don't have to let it affect you. You don't have to let it, mess with your mental health. Now it does, because it's, you see a lot. You see people getting killed 24/7 by
Right.
police. So yes, it will mess with you. But again, the key word I think is you can overcome. You don't have to let it be the focus of your life. You can do a lot of things, so much things. Look at like you're building a gym, becoming a business owner. You are creating your own. You know how people call it, say we have victim mentality. Well, I don't see no victim
Mm-hmm.
mentality in Crocker. I don't see no mentality in me. I got my degree. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I work at a very good job. There's no victim in us. You know what I'm saying? So I think when we speak about racism, though, we gotta make sure we speak on it in a way to where we're not saying it won't, like, oh yeah, if you don't do this, it won't happen to you. No, sooner or later it's gonna happen to you. And then like with the last caller talking about, black dude. Now I don't never agree with somebody calling, somebody a white devil or anything like that. But I think you got to understand where those people are coming from, what they've experienced, and they're trying to protect you. Like, hey, bro, like it's interracial stuff. Some people may look at it. They may look at it and think that you're dating her, so they may not like it. And it's still happening today. They do not like that interracial stuff. A police officer, a captain, got fired because he was married to a white woman. And he came out and said it. They got rid of me because they didn't like that I was dating a white woman. I think a principal, it happened to a principal. That stuff is still alive today. So I understand where they're coming from. Of course, I don't agree with, folks name calling or anything like that. But yeah, a lot of it is we're trying to protect our own. And then black people, of course, they're gonna joke with you. It's not racism, but black people will joke with you, be like, bro, why you talk like that? Why you sound white? Or
Right.
like I've had it done to me, but you just make them foolish and be like, well, how a black person supposed to sound? Like, how are we supposed to sound? We're not black people are not monolithic. We're all different.
Right.
So we're gonna sound different. We're gonna do things differently. But yeah, that's what I wanted to say on that. But I want to ask you a question. I wanted to see where did you have your light bulb experience in life? Like when did you start to mature? And I'll give you my little story. When I dropped out of junior college, and I was sitting at my office one day at work, and then all of a sudden a light bulb went off and was like, Chris, everything your mom told you was right. Everything she did for you was for a reason. And I was like, what the heck? What is this? What is this voice? And it's just like ding. It was ding. And then all of a sudden, bro, like maybe like a few weeks later, re-enrolled back into junior college, finished that, moved to LA, boom, got my degree, boom. And you know the story. I mean, got my own platform called Black Solutions, and I, work at a pretty good job. So yeah, when did your light bulb moment happen for you?
Oh man, that's a great question. I can't think of like a specific time, because for me, I just always kept chipping away. You know what I'm saying? Like my whole life has just been like chip away, and like figure it out. So I don't think it was just like one specific moment that happened. I mean, I guess maybe the one big change was when, my best friend, and you met him, Donald, went to jail. We were doing stupid stuff, and he ended up going to jail. And I think maybe that was where it was like, all right, like something has to change. Now, I don't know if a light bulb went off, but I do know that was probably a pivotal kind of turning point in my life.
That's deep. Yeah, I mean, for some people, they don't have that opportunity to have that light bulb moment or that maturity moment. What if you didn't what if you didn't care that your boy went to jail? Like, oh, okay, that's him. It's not gonna happen to me, so I'm gonna still do what I'm doing. So a lot of people don't have those light bulb moments. And shout out to you for maturing up. Shout out to everybody out there that's maturing up. And happy Friday. Hope everybody have a great weekend. I'm out of here.
All right. That's my guy, Chris. And I'm out of here too. Make sure you guys, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Underdog Fantasy, get in on the action this weekend. Make sure you use promo code Crocky when you sign up. They'll throw an additional $10 into your account. If you haven't already, make sure you guys listen to the latest episode of Locked On 49ers with myself and my co-host Brian Peacock. Also, listen to Locked On NFL Draft, and you can watch it on YouTube as well. So, till next time, see y'all. Peace.
Intercepted. It is picked off by Aaron Rodgers over midfield. He'll run it all the way into the end zone. Touchdown.
Crop Talk TV podcast. Peace.